Aia Vitality. Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge, with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality Wheel to earn Vitality Coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality Points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
Quadruple header Wednesday in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Our feature matchup sees the third place Lion City Sailors welcome defending champs Albirex Niigata in a game that even this early on could prove crucial in the title race. The Sailors got back to winning ways on Saturday night with a clinical win over the Young Lions, but they still displayed some defensive frailties that will encourage the White Swans front line. The Japanese machine goes into tonight top of the table, but after drawing a blank against Balestier, they only just managed to squeeze past Geylang on Sunday, and there's a suspicion they might not be the same force as last season. Victory tonight though, and those suspicions could look silly. Who will be the match winners tonight? And can the Sailors of the Lion City start to show some title winning credentials? We're about to find out live. Good evening everyone and welcome to Jalan Besar in the heart of Singapore for a top of the table clash where third entertain first. The lights are on and the AIA Singapore Premier League is definitely at home here. What a cracking encounter we've got in store. And of course it's one of 4 games coming your way live across Singtel StarHub if you're watching in Singapore. And, of course, on the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports, a warm welcome wherever you're watching around the world. The Stags are going to bounce back from that mauling at the hands of the Cheetahs. They entertain Young Lions. Tanjung Pagar United at home to Hougang as the Jaguars look for their first win of the season. And Balestier Khalsa and Geylang International, that has got the look of a very tasty clash indeed. 5th against 6th as the Tigers take on the Eagles. And that is the state of the league table. I'm just doing my maths. Mathematically, it's possible. 1, 2, 3. I think it's mathematically possible to have any one of 4 teams top of the table tonight. That's if Tampines win by about 10 goals to when other results go their way. But whichever way you shake it down, it certainly is set fair for what's been the most competitive start to an AIA Singapore Premier League season in many a year. Welcome to our broadcast position up here in the stands at Jalan Besar. You can see the players finishing their warm-up routines behind us. Roshan Rai, former SPL player, and of course AFC ambassador alongside me. And the hashtag is Game On. Well, there's a new hashtag now, Fans Back. Some great news that was announced this afternoon. You can get full details if you go to the FAS and AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels. I'll try and abbreviate it because as everything in the modern world, it's not exactly straightforward. But from this weekend until the 24th of April, there is conditions additional entry for a maximum of 250 fans. It is a negative polymerase chain reaction test you have had to have taken within the last 14 days prior to match day, a negative antigen rapid test, one of those ARTs, 24 hours prior to the event. So that might be the most practical for you, or you must have had the second dose of your vaccine 14 days before match day. So it's quite tough following those little guidelines. Of course, also, you'll have to turn up at the grounds 2 hours before. You must have a wrist tag. The ticket costs will be free, by the way. I think rightly so, bringing on the trouble you're going to have to go to. And the usual security protocols are in place. But the real good news in that announcement, Roshan, is obviously it's going to be difficult for fans the next 2 weeks. But from the 24th of April, they're hoping to lift those pre-requirements. And it'll be a maximum of 250, but anyone can come. We're in the right direction.
We're certainly heading in that right direction. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I was so excited coming in today about this game. And then just as I was coming into the stadium, I heard the news that fans were going to be starting to be allowed into the venues to watch these matches as well. And it just got even better. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. The fact that, you know, we've been on such a long road as well, the work that's been done by the authorities here, by the Football Association of Singapore, by Sport Singapore, by, of course, Singaporeans as well, to stick to the guidelines and to be very disciplined and to help each other out in these situations. It's just brilliant to see. And we're slowly starting to see these rewards now. And I just can't wait for fans to be back in the venues.
Yeah, hats off to the government of Singapore and the Football Association of Singapore. We're getting fans back into the stadium starting this weekend. Unfortunately, you can't be here tonight, but you've got the best seat in the house alongside Roshan and myself to enjoy this top of the table clash with the Lion City Sailors, who've had their hiccups at home since the start of the season, throwing away a 3-1 lead against Tampines, then beaten here 3-1 by Hougang, are starting to show signs they're clicking into gear. And no coincidence, Roshan, that comes with the emergence of their two Brazilian stars as starters. Both Jorge Felipe and Diogo Lopes started against the Young Lions at the weekend. And ironically for me, it was Jorge Felipe who was arguably as equally impressive as a $3 million man. This is a centre-back that's going to make big noises in the SPL moving forward.
Well, we've looked at Lion City Sailors and we've touched on the fact that perhaps defensively they've got a few issues there. But Jorge Felipe has come in and he was brilliant in this game against the Young Lions. I mean, we're seeing here examples of his quality from attacking set pieces. He'll help them out in those defensive set pieces as well. Perhaps could have got himself a goal in this one. But what I like about him is his organization, and from what we've seen so far has been very good. Talking to the players in and around him as well. Reading of the game, reading those situations. And we're going to see an example of his positioning here as well. Marking up tight, sees that the ball's going to come across, gets to it early and gets it away from danger. So, you know, it's been a very smart signing, and they were very specific about the sort of central defender that they wanted to come in. They wanted someone with good height, left-footed to come in, composed on the ball, someone who could help them with their passing game. Because, you know, we've seen from Lion City Sailors, they like to play out from the back. So they need a central defender in there who's got that composure to get it, receive it under pressure, play it through the midfield and get the Lion City Sailors moving forward. And
he's already won the award for moustache of the season. I challenge any player in the AIA Singapore Premier League to better Jorge Felipe's moustache. There was some concern that he'd shaved it off for tonight, but I can confirm it's still there. His other Brazilian teammate, Diogo Lopes, obviously with that price tag, big things were expected. Obviously, he hasn't started too many games, but he started at the weekend. Didn't exactly run the show, but he did show his quality a couple of times.
You expect him to have that individual quality, and you know, we saw a great example of that, getting his first real run out, I would say, and his link up with his teammates as well in these situations, finding nice little bits and pieces of space, especially down that left-hand side. And what I like about this LCS team as well, Stipe Plazibart playing in that role where he's allowed to drop off the centre-forward line. He's got runners then going in behind him, the likes of Saifullah perhaps, the likes of Gabriel taking advantage of spaces that could open up. Here he is again, of course, we're talking about Diogo Lopes, the man everyone's excited to see. And you see his individual quality, the ability to take players on. I have to emphasize that when he was playing in Portugal with Rio Ave, he wasn't exactly a dribbler, but perhaps coming into this league with the qualities that he has, he's going to have to sort of develop that side to his game, and we're seeing examples of that already. He needs to be that influential player for LCS, and I'm sure he will be as the weeks go on.
And like all top players, he always seems to find himself with that extra yard of space and half a second of extra time to do what he has to do with the ball, as you saw there as he laid on that goal for Stipe Plazibart. He's done a lot to do, by the way. Right, we can't just talk about the Brazilians, because the important thing about having these great players in the league is how it's going to improve the homegrown talent. Gabriel Quack was already the star of the show for me last season, and he's picked up this season where he left off in the last campaign. Yeah,
I think he's already come out and said that one of his goals for this season is to go into double figures in terms of the goal scoring for the first time in his career. He got 5 goals last season, 7 assists. He's already on 4 this season. And what we've seen as well is, in terms of his role, it's changed a little bit. He's allowed to drift infield a little bit more. And it's in line with the way Lion City Sailors want to play their attacking game. They want to dominate the center of the park. They want to get bodies and numbers in those central positions. And he goes in there, and it's not just, you know, it's goal scoring, but it's also that link up in those situations. And we've seen examples of that against Tampines. Coming into central areas here, a beautiful run from out wide, a diagonal run in behind the opposition defense. And it makes it sort of difficult for opposition teams, opposition defenders to sort of deal with when he's got that quality of movement in behind that defensive line. It's difficult to track those late runs and the timing of his movement as well. And he's added that finishing touch to his game, which is great to see.
4 goals in 4 games. I'd say he's a very strong chance to get to double digits for the first time in his career. And as Roshan says, keep an eye on him. He's got really seemingly under Vidmar, licence to drift. 1 minute he's on the left, 1 minute on the right. And as you saw with that goal, great running to take him through the middle. We mustn't ignore Albirex Niigata. No matter how you try and pick holes in them, champions in 4 of the last 5 seasons, even though they turn over the players. Yes, Ryosuke Nagasawa is injured, but in Kazuki Hashioka, I think arguably for me, along with Gabriel Quack, look, we haven't seen enough of the Brazilians yet, probably the best player in the league. I mean, he's absolutely everywhere and central to everything good that Albirex does.
Well, he's a big part of their attacking game, and in terms of how they want to get the ball out to him down the right-hand side, he will be that player that provides them the width in those positions. Out on the right, either hugging the touchline or making these runs in field, these underlapping movements into areas where, again, it can be difficult for these opposition defenders to sort of pick up on. But he is an outlet for them. Here he is, that big switch from Chiku out into Hashioka, and I mean, he's got good pedigree. We know his brother with the Urawa Reds. They'll be sharing tips, I'm sure, talking about their experiences playing out on their right-hand side. But the way Albirex set up as well, with Tezuka then dropping in to be part of their build-up, that essentially means that they can push Hashioka further up the pitch, bring in whoever's playing on the right-hand side, whether it's Fyros, whether it's Ong Yuen, whether it's Nicky Melvin Singh, drift him into those central areas a little bit more, where they can occupy those central spaces, and that means Hashioka has then got that opportunity to use that space, use that width down the right-hand side to great effect.
We had hoped to concentrate and focus on Suboi as our next player to watch, but somewhat surprisingly, to give you a very brief summary of the team news, I'll confirm it for you in a minute. One enforced change for the Lion City Sailors. As expected, Chijeli comes in for the suspended Amaral. There are 2 changes for Albex. Kondo comes in, and Firas Hassan comes in as well for Nicky Singh, and somewhat surprisingly, Suboi, their leading goal scorer, on the bench but doesn't start. You surprised by that?
Yeah, a little bit surprised, but I think, you know, it could be a situation where they're trying to just make a few changes, have a few fresh legs in there. But with 3 goals and 3 assists, Suboi as well has had a really good start to the season for Albirex. I like his movement across the forward line. Here he is creating opportunities, getting himself on the score sheet. He also helps with the sort of build-up in his team as well. But with Kondo coming in, I mean, that's a really exciting a young player. 18 years of age, he's got fantastic pedigree. With the Cerezo Osaka under-23s, he's already played matches for them at that level. He scored a goal for them at that level as well. So you expect him, you know, a Japanese youth international, under-15, under-16 level, to be coming into the SPL and really setting it alight. He's a player that I'm really looking forward to seeing in this game here.
And he's going to be hungry because he had the second half to impress at the weekend. Now he's got a starting burst, so Roshan's quite right. He was really lively and made a difference when he came on against Gamelands, so keep an eye out for Kondo. Right, Albirex Niigata, the only unbeaten team in the league. And don't forget, after the COVID-enforced break last season, they were the only team after the restart to beat the Lion City Sailors. We'll look back at those 2 incredible 3-2 games, hopefully a taste of what's to come this evening when we come back. Stay with us.
you want, Pat?
Welcome back live to Jalan Besar, where we are just around about 50 minutes away from kickoff in tonight's feature match in the AIA Singapore Premier League. One of 4 games you can watch live simultaneously on Singtel Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports. And I think we've picked the best game, don't you? Albirex Niigata, defending champions, top of the table, but haven't looked that impressive in the last couple of outings against the Lions City Sailors side, who, to be fair, they've had their down days, but they're always exciting to watch games that they're involved in.
This should be a great game. I mean, you look at the quality on display, the talent that both these teams, both these squads have, the coaches and the tactical battle. It's going to be an intriguing contest between these two sides. You're absolutely right. This is, for me, the game of the night.
Well, let's look back at the last time these two teams met. It was at the Lion City Sailors, then home ground of Bishan. And like the other game that they played against each other in that strange season last year, it ended 3-2. On both occasions, the Sailors battling back to get the game to 2-2, but Albirex just proving the stronger. Is that a sign of what we might expect today, Roshan?
Well, I think we're going to see goals in this game, and I hope I haven't just put the commentator's curse on it. Of course, I hope I haven't. But you know, they're both sides that like to go out. They're both sides that like to impose their styles of play up against the opposition, and they're both teams that like to go out and open themselves and go and attack. So I think we'll see goals with the quality on display.
You're seeing Tomoyuki Doi, of course, score that first goal. Now the leading goal scorer with Hougang. Faris Hassan, who starts tonight, got the second. Before the Sailors started to get back into it, there was a Song Yong penalty. Then Tajeli, another player who comes into the starting lineup to make it 2-2, and then Hanada coming up with this winner. And Albirex, they always finish games strongly.
They certainly do, and it's those fitness levels. And again, we're seeing an example there of Hashioka and his qualities down the right-hand side. It's something that the Lion City Sailors will have to look out for as well. His ability to take players on in those one-on-ones, send crosses into the box, or look out for those cutbacks on the edge of the area.
I think this game, you can disagree with me if you want, you often do, is going to come down to which side defends better. Would you agree with that? Because we know they can do it going forward. I think which side defends better.
Yeah, I think it's quite right to point that out. Because again, I touched on the fact that both these teams like to get forward and like to attack and like to create opportunities. But on the defensive side of things, Albirex have been outstanding in the SPL so far this season, conceding just 1 goal. I think it's 3 clean sheets coming into this one. It's because they know how to work together as a unit, defensively as a team. I know when we talk about defenses, we sometimes look at individual central defenders or the back 4, the back 5, including the goalkeeper, as a unit. But really, what's impressive about Albirex is, as a whole, as a team, very tight between the lines, and they compact, they counter press very well, which doesn't give the opposition many opportunities to really counter-attack against them. And it's something that the Lion City Sailors have a slight issue with, is the compactness between the defensive, the midfield and attacking unit. So that's something that they're still sort of working on. Let's see what happens in this game, because as I said earlier, both these sides can attack. Could come down to who's just better able to have that defensive discipline in this one.
Let's hear from the two managers. Our very own Farah Naya has been downstairs talking to Albirex Niigata's head coach, Keiji Shigetomi. Great to see him, by the way, starting to do his own media in English. Full marks to you, Keiji. And, of course, a man who does speak English is his first language, the Australian coach of the Lion City Sailors. We'll hear from him first. Here's Aurelio Vidmar with Farah.
I have with me Aurelio Vidmar, head coach of the Lion City Sailors. Aurelio, a win today against Albirex and you go level on points with the champions. How huge is this one?
Yeah, extremely important game. Obviously, we're 3 points behind them. And if we want to say in the championship this year, we certainly need to win tonight.
Now, last season against Albirex, on both occasions, you came out of it empty-handed. But how confident do you and your players feel in getting a result today?
Yeah, we're very confident. Obviously, they have a different lineup than they had last year, and we had 2 very good games against them last year, but shot ourselves in the foot on a couple of occasions. So, different kettle of fish tonight. We're looking for a strong performance.
Now, onto your team selection, you'll of course be missing Amirul Adli, who's on a 1-match suspension. And before his sending off at the weekend, he's played every single minute so far for you. We know you have quality on and off the bench, so who will be replacing him today?
Tajeli will be replacing him, and yeah, sure, we're going to miss him, but we have enough quality players in the squad, even Abdul, who hasn't had many minutes as well. So that shouldn't worry us at all.
Aurelio, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
KG, today will be a huge test against the Lion City Sailors. How are you feeling ahead of this?
Yeah, it will be a tough match as Sailors has many good players and they are stronger than last year with many quality additions.
Like you said, today will be a challenge indeed, but how important is today for you, your side?
For me, every match is important. I treat every match the same. We want to play exciting match so that our fans can enjoy the match.
KG, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Well, full marks to Faranaya. That is the first time ever I've heard Aurelio Vidmar have coaxed out of him something quite interesting in that pre-match interview. He's got this down as a must-win game for their title aspiration, and that is a dramatic change of gear from the coach to some of the games earlier in the campaign. Remember, this may only be match day 5, but it's only a 21-game season.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, he's actually come out and put pressure on his team, put pressure on himself, which is great to see him. It's refreshing to hear a coach come out in the pre-match interview and put that pressure on his players, as we're seeing here. But you look at the quality that they have out there, Patrick, and you know, I think they deserve to be put under that sort of pressure, because with the quality they have, with the finances in, it comes with that expectation.
And the other thing, when we're looking at the top teams, look at that substitutes bench. There's an argument to be made that all 7 of those players would probably walk straight in to any of the other teams. Obviously, Albirex accepted because their selection criteria is slightly different. I mean, you've got options there, 3 substitutes to call on. What does Sogo Young have to do? I mean, he scores goals for fun. He's been a mainstay of the side for a couple of seasons. He now is being kept out the team by Diego Lopez. So they have got strength in depth. And if you're Aurelio Vidmar, I suppose half the battle is keeping them all happy.
Yeah. Look, and again, just that rotation, and in terms of having that competition within the squad as well. You know, if you don't deliver, which is you know, Song has been delivering, so you're right to ask the question, what has he got to do? But it's about having these options in the squad, challenging each other, trying to improve your performances in training day after day, and in your matches week after week.
It's very unusual for Keiji Shigetomi to make more than one change to his starting 11. Obviously, we know the Albirex Niigata squad is the fittest in the league. He makes 2 today with Kondo, who I know Roshan's a big fan of, and Fyros both coming in. Somewhat surprising, you can see there's Suboi on the bench. Who are the players for people to watch out for other than the usual suspects of Hashioka and Taniguchi?
Well, I think Tezuka is going to be a key player for them in the build-up phases, and in terms of how he receives it and where on the pitch he receives it. They do well to try and pick up on him. Chiku as well, the number 8 in central midfield, will look to try and drive the game along with Tezuka. And you mentioned those names already that we've touched on as well. And again, I just have to emphasize Kondo coming in with really good pedigree, 18 years of age. I'm hoping for a good lively performance here, and how that Lion City Sailors defensive line actually deals with a player of his quality.
Really looking forward to this one. Roshan's making me lick my lips even more so than usual when I build up to kick off in an AIA Singapore Premier League game. We're at Jalan Besar for the Sailors against the White Swans. It's one of 4 games you can enjoy live tonight on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports. And kickoff is now just minutes away. Don't you dare go anywhere. We'll be back with the action live very shortly. You're back live with us at Jenna Bassar, where Roshan Rai and myself have taken our positions in the commentary box as we get set to bring you the live action on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports. It's third against first, the Lion City Sailors against Albirex Niigata, the defending champions and current league leaders. Remember, it's one of 4 games tonight. Balestier gaining, that'll be a cracker, being played at Topayo. Tampines Rovers, they need a win, don't they, against the Young Lions, who are much improved and were a little bit unlucky to lose 3-1 here at the weekend. And then Tanjung Pagar United. Is today the day? 2,400 days, I think it is now, since they last won a game in the Singapore Premier League, and they had their work cut out as they take on one of the most impressive teams of the season so far in Hougang United. We'll keep you up to date with what's happening there as and when we can, but the focus, Roshan, very much has to be here. Do you think one of these two teams will ultimately go on and win the title this year?
Yes, I think it's quite straightforward when we say. I know Hougang fans and Hougang United themselves perhaps won't be happy hearing that, or maybe they might. They might be quite happy to just be the underdog at the moment and let all the attention be on these two teams. But from what I've seen of these two sides so far, and the expectation on the shoulders of this Lion City Sailors squad, you have to say it's one of these two sides coming up against each other here. Title contenders, serious title contenders we're seeing, and this is the game of the night for me.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. We've run you through the team selection once. We'll do it again very shortly. Amaral, obviously, a miss, Roshan, for them, but Tajeli is a very able deputy. And again, so many players on display here that scored in the corresponding fixture when the teams met twice last season. So a lot of these players have got pedigree against each other. This will be a test, though, of how the Lion City Sailors have improved, because they showed quality last year, but couldn't really close games out, and that applied to the 2 games they lost against Albirex. Those 2 defeats, the second one of which we showed you just before the break, the only 2 games that the Sailors lost after the COVID resumption.
Yeah, and not conceding late goals in some of their matches as well. I think we've already talked about the fact that defensively at times there will be some question marks with this Lion City Sailors side. Last season, certainly this season as well, we've seen them leak a few goals in, make a few individual errors, shot themselves in the foot a little bit in certain situations. So it's something that they have to just cut out of their game, especially against this high-quality Albirex Niigata side who will make them work. And Tajeli, as you mentioned coming in, I think he's actually a really decent player. He's a solid player, central defense in there. Yes, he made a mistake in that game against Hougang, sloppy little back pass back to Hassan, but otherwise, he's just because you make a mistake in a game doesn't mean you're a bad player.
Here come Albirex Niigata. Every time you think they're starting to wane, they find an extra gear and retain the title as they did last year after that one-year break when it went to Brunei. They're champions in 4 of the last 5 seasons. But it'll be a test for some of these youngsters. You mentioned Kondo, they're a team always packed full of young talent, and that's something that comes with the territory now for the Lion City Sailors. It will not just be pressure on the Sailors, but it's pressure on the teams that are playing them, because this is almost, to give it an analogy, when teams go to play Manchester United in the English Premier League. You laugh, but that's, I think, where the Sailors want to be. Yeah. And I think they're now considered. They've always got a target on their back because of the money associated with them.
I'm laughing because, not at that comment, but I'm laughing at the fact that you're absolutely right, because, you look at these games and you want to play against the best teams, you want to test yourself against some of the best players, and if you're going to end up being a title challenger, if you're going to end up winning the league at the end of the season, these are the kinds of contests that you're going to have to come up against, and these are the types of challenges that you're going to have to face along the way. There
are match officials led by Mr. Ahmed Al-Quasar. Jay Ashok Raj is his assistant, along with Alson Fu, and Mohamed Zulfikar Mustafa is the 4th official. 2 players we haven't mentioned, and one of them's there, and we should do, because Hassan Sunny's had his critics this season. He's not been hand or foot perfect, and in Takahiro Koga, looks like Albirex Niigata have uncovered another superstar goalkeeper. No keeper in the division's made more saves. He's made 17 so far, 3 clean sheets as well. And Hassan Sunny, who of course captains the Sailors here, big game for him as well.
Big game for him. I mean, we've seen him make a few mistakes in this season so far, leading the side out here as the captain as well. So we're expecting big things from Hassan. We know he has the quality in there, but it's about perhaps shutting some of the critics up in this one.
Just to remind you, as we see Aurelio Vidmar take his team in the dugout, just the one change to Jelly in for the suspended Amaral from the Sailors teams that won 3-1 at the weekend as the 2 coaches shake hands before the game. Let's check out the Albirex Niigata lineup. Unusually 2 changes from the side that won in a very close game against Geylang. They arguably were lucky to get away with the 3 points just after drawing goalless with Balestier. Kondo comes in, as does Faris Hassan, somewhat surprisingly, as we've touched on, Suboy on the bench, Roshan.
Yeah, it's an option for them to come on and change the game if they need to, perhaps not quite fit enough to start the game. But look, Kondo is a very exciting young talent. We touched on him in our pre-game show as we have a look at Shigetomi here and the job that he's done with this Albirex Niigata side. He's turned them into such an outstanding team, just very well tactically organized, incredible discipline. They will create chances. Just have a look at some of their patterns of play in the build-up as well. They're really a joy to watch. You mentioned Koga in goal, and he helps them in terms of their playmaking from the back, believe it or not, just because of his quality and his distribution. I remember that game that we covered just before was it just before the international break? Or just after maybe, where he was actually playing almost close to the halfway line, picking passes out. Exactly.
So here we go then. It's one we've all been looking forward to. Don't forget Albirex and Tampines to come on Sunday, but will it be Albirex at the top of the table then? They need to get a result here with Hougang, along with the Tampines Rovers Stags and Lion City Sailors on their tail. It's going to be Albirex in the orange playing from right to left in this first half. Lion City Sailors in the white shirts, blue shorts. It's live on Singtel, StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports as well. This wonderful Wednesday is up and running, and straight away Tezuka fires a ball wide right, looking for that dangerous double act down the right hand side where Hashioka will bomb forward at every opportunity. As the teams line up early, I'm sure Roshan will have his eye out to see if there's any interesting alterations in the formations from what we expected. Here's Gabriel Quack into Stipe. Nice one touch from Stipe. Now Gabriel Quack's beating his man here, and he manages to bypass Diego Lopez, and Quack sprinting down the line to try and get it back, and the Sailors take the early initiative in terms of possession. And there's a look at the best moustache in the business, George Felipe. When you see him up close, he's a huge, huge man, that George Felipe. He's going to intimidate many strikers and indeed many defenders at set pieces this season.
Yeah, it certainly gives them a good presence at the back in central defense, and touched on how it will be a threat for them in those attacking set pieces as we see Saifullah just get taken out by Tokiwa on that occasion. But very early on, we see Gabriel already, as we touched on, being given a license to roam into central positions. And when he does that, we'll see him just rotate positions for the moment, with Saifullah going out wide onto that right-hand side. I'm
not a mouthpiece for the league or for the Football Association of Singapore, but I say it as someone that's passionate about Singaporean football. When you see the way Gabriel Quack's playing as the free kick will go to Albirex there for the foul on UN, you look at Gabriel Quack. Obviously, poor Adam Swandy can't get a kick. Irfan Fandi, I talk about him endlessly because I don't think Singaporeans appreciate just how much he's improved in Thailand. Jacob Marler to come back from national service. The likes of Joel Chu, who's impressed in his limited appearances so far this season. There is a reason to be optimistic as Hashioka just unable to get to that, and there's a glimpse of Hashioka getting forward. But going back to the national team, as a proud Singaporean yourself, Roshan, do you think there is room for optimism with this Bring Back the War and Project 2034?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we've touched on it, we've spoken about it in some of our previous shows and some of our previous feature matches, and we've got Tatsuma Yoshida as well. I saw him just early on coming to have a look at this game. There is talent, there is quality available to him as well, and what I really like about what he's been doing, and which we perhaps didn't have under Raddy, was players being given an opportunity with training camps. Players being given a chance to show the national coach what they can do in those training situations. So that sort of increases the talent pool as we see a free kick being given away. So what he's doing is he's tried to get as many people as he can into these training camps, give them that experience of what it's like to work under him, give them opportunities to show their qualities, and that just helps in terms of expanding the talent pool.
Tanada is here, watching the game in person, and away at the races down the right is Saifullah. Gets it back to Gabriel Quack. Stipe waits in the middle. He's got an option with Shardan with him as well if he wants to take it. Instead, he plays it to Naikudin. Back to Shardan now, and that's an ambitious ball over the top, and it never really looked like being on, and it's in the hands, the safe hands of Koga. But the Lion City Sailors just edging this early. 3 minutes in, no score, and no chances as yet either.
Again, just before that, we saw Koga ping out a beautiful pass into Hashioka from a very deep position. That's that playmaking goalkeeper that I touched on earlier.
He's certainly good with his feet, and he's a very tall goalkeeper as well, which sounds a bit daft when you say that, but obviously there are some goalkeepers in Singapore that are slightly shorter of stature, and you have to think, gone are the days when Peter Shilton's agility sometimes made up for his lack of height. You've got to have a presence, and Koga certainly got that. Well, that was a dangerous flick on that nearly made its way through to Stipe Placevat. Goalless in all the games so far. Which team's going to score first in the AIA Singapore Premier League tonight, Roshan? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Jeez, already. Well, Can I come back to that? Because it's a nice little battle here between Kondo and Tajeli. Now that the ball's out,
go on, you were just
I'm going to say,
time.
because I don't know what's going on in the other matches, I'm focused on this one. I'm going to say it's going to be one of these two sides.
Okay, Roshan Rai convinced the first goal's going to come from either the Lion City Sailor or Albirex Niigata. Of course, the Lion City Sailors are making a habit of scoring early goals. They were almost 2 up by this point in that first game of the season against Tampines Rovers. All 4 games goalless at the moment on this very busy Wednesday in the AIA Singapore Premier League, where, as I said at the start of the show, in an 8-team league, I think any one of 4 teams mathematically could be top tonight. Over the top, that's looking for the run down the left of Ong Yuen. Are you impressed with what you've seen from the Singaporeans playing for Albirex this season, the likes of Nicky Singh, Ong Yuen, and of course Firos, who was their last campaign as well?
Yeah, you know, I think it's, again, it's something that we've spoken about. Good pressing by Albirex on that occasion, just forcing that mistake from Saifullah, who was attempting that turn away from that pressing structure. They are being given minutes, they are being given opportunities, but also that exposure to a different culture of training, to a different sort of tactical level perhaps. It's just going to be good for them in the longer term, and we've had players who've played for Albirex come away from their...
Oh, here's a chance, Firos Hassan, he completely scuffs it and George Felipe gets it away. Carry on, Roshan, that was interesting there.
Well, coming away from their time at Albirex and speaking highly of their experiences over there.
Well, you won't believe who scored the first goal of the night in the AIA Singapore Premier League. I'll give you 8 guesses. Well, you know it's not these two. I'll give you 6 guesses and you won't get it. Tanjong Pagar United lead Hougang early. The 2,500 day wait may nearly be an end. Well, that's a bit premature to say that, but the Jaguars leading Hougang United, who've been in such impressive form lately early on. Here's Taniguchi. Twisting and turning, options in the middle. To the byline, Hashioka, and there's another glimpse of that speed. Hashioka, I mean, he reminds me, in a strange way, we used to watch Dennis Wise play for Chelsea, and he was everywhere on the pitch. In an isolated space, Hashioka's just always darting around, you know, like a rabbit in a foxhole, down on that right-hand side.
Well, yeah, you know, they're always sort of looking for him, but it's excellent work by Taniguchi initially, just good approach play, take a couple of defenders on, drifting inside to create that spacing. But what he did there really well was to drag the left back, Nur Adam, alongside him in field, so that opened up a little bit of space for Hashioka to work with down their right-hand side. And he's always going to be an outlet for them. We're seeing Albirex already in the opening 5 minutes or so, looking for those quick, longer balls up top, either into those wider areas or just trying to hit in behind that Lion City Sailors defense.
Nice footwork from Gabriel Quack there. He's got to be the, I mean, along with Irfan Fandi, he's got to be the most improved footballer in Singapore as well over the last 12 months, hasn't he? He's always had the talent, but he's taken it to the next level over the last 12 months. Inside to Shardan. Shardan looking for an option. He manages to thread away through to Diego Lopez. Now this is interesting. It's in that kind of area that Lopez managed to create a goal for Stipe Plazibat at the weekend. Is to Jelly. It's come to Saifullah here. He goes back to Shardan. Sailors keeping possession quite well. It's not often that Albirex Niigata have the ball passed around them. They were incidentally having the ball passed around them in the seconds leading up to the goal they scored against Geylang. Geylang not penetrating forward and messing around with the ball too much in possession, ended up conceding a breakaway goal. Stipe Plazibat dropping back nicely, gets it to George Felipe.
This is a good example of some of the tactical flexibility we've seen from Albirex so far. Here, sitting just back in at 4-4-2.
Gabriel Quack, lovely ball inside, and they have to turn it behind for a corner. It was Hashioka who turned it behind after more good work by Gabriel Quack, who looks like he's in the mood today, Roshan.
There's good movement from Lion City Sailors in midfield just to open up those passing angles and those opportunities to progress the ball forward. And we speak about Hashioka getting himself in those attacking areas on that occasion, having to track back. Good run by Justin Hui at the far post. Yeah,
he had to get there because Justin Hui was ready to latch onto it. First corner, looks like they'll go for the in-swinger here. Will be Shardan to deliver. Delivery is decent over everyone, and it nearly dropped to Naikudin. Can he keep it in? He can. Can he get it back? He does. Diego Lopez, Stipe Plazibat somehow found it through to Gabriel Quack. Albirex struggling to clear their lines at the moment. Stipe to Jelly. Putting a bit of pressure on now, the Sailors. To Jelly. Felipe stayed up, and as you're going to have to get used to seeing this year, manages to rise highest and get to the ball first, but his header in doesn't quite get there. And of course, with Felipe up that end of the field, there was a chance for Albirex to break away, but they concede the free kick, and the Sailors can continue this pressure, Roshan.
They certainly can. Really good tempo. The opening few minutes from the Lion City Sailors. They're passing it quickly. There's good movement off the ball. As you can see here, nice options for the player in possession. Got Diego Lopez at times dropping into these deeper areas. And you've got players in between the lines as well. Just see Saifullah and Gabriel Kwak just in behind at Albirex midfield.
Naikudin with lots of space after a good run. Here's Gabriel Kwak. They're terrified of Kwak at these early stages, and with good reason. Hashioka gets there first. Just in front of Justin Hui, but it's all the Lion City Sailors early. Ball comes in. Gabriel Kwak gets there first as well, and Koga had to make his save. Well, the Sailors starting brightly, Roshan, right?
Yeah, he wasn't favoured for that, Gabriel. He's done really well to get that one and test the goalkeeper, Koga. Tokiwa just has a look, drops off, tries to get himself into that position. And I tell you, Gabriel Kwak has done really well just to get that effort on target. Good start from the Lion City Sailors.
Felipe's made a mistake, and he's left them away at the races. A rare mistake from George Felipe. They need to track back. The orange shirts are pouring forward. They've got a runner on the overlaps. That's Hashioka, and Hassan Sani pushes it away from danger. Well, the first mistake from the Sailors in the game, it came from the big centre-back, Justin Felipe. It almost cost them dearly.
George Felipe there. It's these individual errors that have really hurt the Lion City Sailors defensively. Yeah, Fairoz Hassan looking to pounce on that error, sees that there's no support, has to cut it back. Hashioka, as we hear the jet fighters screaming past Jalan Besar Stadium.
A bit early for National Day rehearsals, isn't it? Just the one clean sheet this season, remember, the Lion City Sailors, and that came against rock bottom Tanjung Pagar United, who still lead Hougang by a goal to nil early. The other two matches goalless as it stands. Balestier nil, Geylang nil, and Tampines nil, the Young Lions nil. Nice twisting and turning from Saifullah, has done really well there. Jardan out to Diego Lopez, and this is what the Sailors have done well under Vidmar. The quick transition. Stipe's the target. Stipe gets goal side. Can he get the shot away? Holds it up. Hashioka's diving challenge. Koga gets a touch to it, and the Sailors really threatening there.
He did really well, Stipe Plaziba. Was misjudged initially, the ball over the top by Kunimoto. And Stipe deciding not to have a crack at goal. Angle perhaps going against him. He's done well just to hold it up, wait for that support to arrive. In the end, danger snuffed out by that Albirex defence.
Certainly lively early here. They've got to be careful. Hashioka. George Felipe's over to try and take him on. He's a dangerous customer to have running at you, Hashioka. Felipe stands him up. Hashioka to the byline. And George Felipe has done it very well. All his experience caught into action there, and it's a goal kick.
Really well defended by George Felipe. And just have a look at his body position here as he goes in to engage Hashioka. Made a nice little underlapping run. This time just switching positions with Fairoz Hassan a little bit. It was Fairoz providing the width for Albirex. Hashioka being given a license to roam inside. But George Felipe, outstanding defensive qualities on an individual level. They're just showing Hashioka down that right-hand side. Hashioka having to take that bait. And George Felipe coming across to clear the danger.
Look at the Sailors confidently playing it out from the back against the team that are top of the table and defending champions. And that's an ambitious ball with the runner over on that far side. Look at the space they found Justin Hui in, and he can put it back to Stipe as well, you know. Stipe wants it. Stipe gets it. Stipe with a touch. Diego Lopez is there. Gabriel Kwak's the option on this near side. He gets it to Gabriel Kwak. And just for a minute, the momentum is gone, but they're still in possession. Naikudin now. Naikudin. The Sailors looking really good when they're on the ball at the moment. Gabriel Kwak, well, commentators curse just as I say that he passes it straight to an orange shirt, and away at the races up the other end goes Taniguchi. Taniguchi threads it through to Kondo. That player we were so looking forward to seeing. He's got so much about him, but he was lost out on that occasion, and Jardan could bring it away. End-to-end stuff at the moment, Roshan.
Great game of football here that we're witnessing between these two sides. Both teams really going for it, being played at a wonderful intensity. I mean, like you said, end-to-end here. Lion City Sailors with some wonderful combinations just to progress the ball up the pitch against Albirex, breaking that pressing game quite easily at the moment.
Hashioka will be on the overlap here if he gets it. They find Hashioka. It's a fair bet that Hashioka will have more touches than any Albirex player in this game today. That's a dangerous cross, and the header was over the bar from Utikawa. He probably should have done better, Roshan.
Oh, he needed to punish them. Really needed to punish the Lion City Sailors. Made a good late run into the box at Tokiwa. And you can see an obvious area where Albirex are looking to try and exploit this Lion City Sailors defense. It's down LCS's left-hand side, so the right-hand side of Albirex Niigata. They're getting overloads in those positions. Swung in a really good cross. And as he's coming onto it, perhaps just takes his eye off the header. But Nakiudin was in trouble there. Really should have buried that header. He's getting caught on the blind side in that situation, Nakyudin.
Kyoga Nakamura has scored for Tampines Rovers. They lead the Young Lions by a 1-0. Here's Gabriel Quack again. Gabriel Quack down to Naikudin, who's making lots of rampaging runs down the right-hand side in a similar style to Hashioka, really. And that's a good pull back to Shardon, who's got time and space to pick a cross. He picks the cross, Justin Huey's there, knocks it downside, Pula! Koga, great save! The flag was up for offside on the second phase, but wonderful play there again from the Lion City Sailors, Roshan.
Yeah, again, excellent quality from both these sides. Just the ability to keep the ball and to look for these openings, be patient with these opportunities. A ball swung in towards that back post. Justin Hui with a very clever header onto the edge of the area. Stipe Plazibat was well marked in the 6-yard box, so he's just looking for that open space, guides it back in towards Saifullah. You can see why Koga has made all the saves that he has in the SPL at the moment. Goalkeeper with the most saves coming into this one.
Well, make that 18. He was on 17 at the start of the night. He's already made it a very important one here today. Up the other end, this is absorbing stuff, isn't it? Anyone that tells me the AIA Singapore Premier League hasn't improved this season, I'm prepared to debate it at length with you, and I assure you, you'll be losing that debate. Really is wonderful stuff. Takiwa.
Now this played into Hashioka. Once again, it's down the right-hand side from Albirex. Patient in possession. Ball played into Taniguchi by Chiku. Just cleared away by Tajeli on that occasion. But you just have a look at, again, I mean, the technical quality on the ball from both these sides, the way they're passing it around, the pace at which the ball is moving, the speed at which the players are offering support. And the ability to hold on to it under pressure.
The speed is the key. We're not used to seeing the SPL games being played this technically soundly at such a fast pace, and that's what's happening here. Both goals tonight, incidentally, so far have been scored by Japanese players across the 4 fixtures, but ironically, Albirex haven't scored. From their first corner, can they do so? Yes, they can! It's shocking defending again from the Lion City Sailors. Their Achilles heel rears its head 16.5 minutes in. And from a set piece, just as they did against Taogang, it's almost identical to the goal in some ways they conceded against Taogang. Well, they go by a 0 down.
I'm just trying to make out if it was an own goal there from Nakyudin, because it's Taniguchi initially that breaks away from that marking of Nakyudin. He heads it down. I don't think he has quite enough power on the header to actually make it past the goal. It might have hit Nakyudin on its way in,
I think you're right. The reaction of the players tells you all you need to know, because they ran over to the man that swung the cross in rather than a player that might well have scored it. So we'll wait for confirmation, but it might be a Nakyudin own goal for the Lion City Sailors that gives the Japanese side the lead. So there have been 3 goals in 3 matches, and the goal that Albirex has scored has been scored by a Singaporean. The other 2 both the Japanese. Nakamura for Tampines, they lead the Young Lions by a 0, and Nishikawa for Tanjung Pagana. The Sailors, can they get straight back into this? Gabriel Quack. Gabriel Quack with a cross. Oh my word, it nearly opened up for Justin Hui, who's finding himself in lots of space down that left-hand side, Roshan.
Again, we can see from the Lion City Sailors looking for those deep crosses towards the back post, looking to take advantage of Hashioka's blind side. Perhaps Justin Hui's already been involved, having to head that back across the goal. What we're seeing here, that the goal being awarded to Yamashita.
I think, do we have, I know in England they have one, in Singapore do they have a
dubious
goals panel? To be fair, you're the kind of upstanding individual in society that would probably be on that dubious goals panel. Well, we'll wait and see. I think the body language, the body language of the scoring team's players is usually the giveaway, and they reacted by running over to the man that swung the cross in rather than the man that might have got the last touch. So,
well, whoever it goes in off, I mean, you just look at the defensive situation there, and I think it was Nakyudin who was actually tasked with marking Taniguchi, and Taniguchi, just that movement across him, lost his man in that situation. But we're seeing Lion City Sailors here showing a good response, good reaction to going that goal down as Saifullah wins a free kick.
Yes, Albirex Niigata. I'm trying to remember the last time they conceded a lead to come away from a game with nothing, and I can tell you the answer to that question. Remember that incredible match when Gavin Lee made those changes at half-time. Taufik Sapano came on for Tampines towards the end of last season, and Tampines ran right at the second half, having trailed 1-0 at half-time. So they're not bomb-proof even when they're leading. This is really shaping up to be a fascinating encounter, and it's one of those footballing cliches, but ironically, for the neutral, an Albirex goal inside the first 20 minutes is probably what's going to make this game even more absorbing than it already was. Set piece. Stipe leaves it, drifted in, looking for George Felipe, manages to chest it down to Felipe! Nearly got the shot away in the second phase. He is going to be looked for on those set pieces 99 times out of 100 for the rest of the season, because you just can't mark him properly with that height.
He's just such a huge threat for them. Again, just using his physicality to good effect, just holding off Ashioka on that occasion. Look, I'd be surprised if we only get the one goal in this game, because both these teams are really going at it.
Diego Lopez, Koga, safe hands. Well, I'd be stunned if we only get the one goal as well. The only game is that only that's goalless tonight. Bannister, Kausa and Gaeling International. They are goalless. Everyone else watching the other three games has got a goal on the board, including Yamashita's dubious goal that has been awarded to him, although we suspect it might be. I think Naikuda was the man you pinged as potentially being the guilty party, Roshan. Oh, look at that. Naikuda playing his team into a bit of bother there, and this is the danger. When it's going right for you and you're playing those passes out from the back, it can be a thing of beauty, but when the chips go down, as they did against Taogang, as they did in periods against Tampines, you can be really punished by a very efficient team such as Albirex Niigata.
It's important to keep their heads up here, and to be fair to them, we've seen a good response so far, keeping the ball well under pressure. They've already created a few opportunities in this game, just haven't been able to find a way past Koga at the moment.
Here's Ong Yuen looking for it back as well. Singaporean with a nice touch there, and Sajeli, no nonsense defending, belting it into row M, I think. And speaking of row M, if you went with us at the top of the show, the big breaking news today that fans will be allowed into the grounds from this coming Saturday. We'll give you the news on that during the drinks break, which will come up in around about 5 minutes' time. But fans gradually being allowed back into the AIA Singapore Premier League grounds from this Saturday. But I'll give you the full details, because for the first couple of weeks it is a little bit complex. But great work from the FAS and the Singapore government as we start to hopefully get back to normal. Naikuda with the throw. Albirex Niigata leading by a 17th minute goal to nil. Come out to Ashioka.
He's done as well as he possibly could have in that situation. Stipe Plazibat holding off two Albirex defenders, waiting for that support to arrive. Almost fell into the feet of Diego Lopez, but it's Albirex once again supplying that pressure. Possession back with them now, and now that they've got that one goal lead, can afford to just be a little bit more patient, pass it around. It's a loose touch by Ong Yuen, a chance for LANGSUNG sailors to break. But
very nearly thread it through to Saifula. I can tell you Tampines have doubled their lead against the Young Lions. Tampines 2-0 up now, which is great news for Gavin Lee, who will be looking for a response after that shocking result against Taogang. It doesn't football work in mysterious ways. Doesn't matter what league you Bad start to the season, could be about to change tonight. Here's Gabriel Quack down the right. He's got plenty of options here. Plazibat's one of them. He can put it back if he wants to Naikuda. Decides to take the 1-2 from Diego Lopez. Albirex Niigata deal with it comfortably enough, and Tajeli was always going to give a free kick away there. You could telegraph that free kick. Even before he got to the ball, that was intelligent play by Taniguchi. And again, I think we need to find out definitively. Maybe we can have a look at that goal they scored during the water break to try and decipher just exactly who scored it, because the press-wise, they're giving it to Taniguchi. We've given it to Yamashita, press-wise giving it to Taniguchi, and Roshan, I think rightly, thinks it's an own goal scored by Naikuda. That's a trivial detail, though. It's the fact that the Lion City Sailors, midway through the first half, could be staring their second defeat of the season after only 5 games in the face. A lot of football to be played, though. And of course, as we mentioned, they have got that very impressive bench to call upon. Chiku. Nishioka. Nishioka. He's going to have to track back and keep this in, Chiku, and we've managed to do just that. Squares it all the way back to a man in acres of space. That's Ryo Kunimoto. Should also point out, we mentioned it in the pre-show, but they're missing Ryosuke Nakagawa to a long-term injury as Koga comes out and does well acrobatically with those big gangly legs. Yeah, that's a big miss from Ryosuke Nagasawa. So when he does come back, which hopefully he will do later in the season, that will be almost like a new signing, won't it?
Yeah, it certainly will be. And I think one of the things we've seen out of Nagasawa, unfortunately being out injured, he's a very exciting player and popping out in those wider positions, but can drift into the central areas as well. We've seen Tezuka actually have to change positions. I remember the first match of the season from Albirex. Tezuka was actually playing in central defense, but he's pushed into midfield now alongside Chiku, and it's been a really good move with Kunimoto then coming into that central defense to partner Yamashita.
Yeah, I think that's another strength of Albirex, is the versatility of their squad and their scouting system. I was speaking to Komuti, their general manager, before the game at the weekend. You know, just we were trying to do the maths, because by my reckoning, I think it's a safe bet that they would be, along with maybe the Young Lions, I don't know, the lowest paid team in the division in terms of salaries. These boys come here recruited, as Roshan's pointed out, from some of the bigger clubs, lower age group teams and universities and high schools, and they come, as I understand it, all on exactly the same salary. So everyone gets paid the same, which is an interesting model, because, you know, back in the old days, before the minimum and maximum wage came in the under Jimmy Hill in the 1950s, 1960s, that was the case at most clubs, but certainly pay structure doesn't seem to hinder Albirex Niigata, champions in 4 of the last 5 seasons. It's an interesting model, that question, isn't it?
It is. It certainly is, and it's a slap in the face at times to, you know, people out there who might say, "Oh, I'm only earning so and so much in the league, so perhaps I'm not required to train twice a day or to put in as much as I should be doing as a professional player." At the end of the day, these guys are showing you an example of, we may not be in high wages, but we're incredibly professional. We're going to use this as a stepping stone to go out and get ourselves bigger wages. That hunger and the desire from some of these guys is absolutely outstanding, and they're just setting a really good example as well for players out there to follow as we come into this drinks break, Patrick.
Yeah, I think Ahmed El Kwasa might have awarded a free kick at an interesting position just before he sent them off for drinks. Right, there's the score. Can we have a look at the goal, actually? I want to have a very quick look at the goal, and also run you through this information about re-entry into the grounds. Here's the goal again. Well, Taniguchi it is rather than Yamashita, but I think it has come off Naikudin.
I think it's come off Naikudin, as I spotted earlier on. It's Taniguchi who gets away from his marker. It's a good delivery into the box, but it's certainly come off someone else. If it is Yamashita, as who you're saying they've awarded it to, I can guarantee you, if a central defender scores a goal, you won't hear the end of it. He's going to be running off celebrating, and he's going to be taking credit for that. I think it actually come off Naikudin. I apologize if we find out at the end of the game it's not Naikudin, but I think unfortunately for him, it's just come off his foot.
Players getting ready to restart. Let me just run you through this information. So from Saturday, April the 10th, fans back into the stand. Fans to a maximum of 250 can come to the games at the weekend if you've got a negative polymerase chain reaction PCR test taken within 14 days before the match day. Negative antigen rapid test, the ART, 24 hours prior to the end of the event. And you've got to complete the vaccination second dose administered at least 14 days before match day. Aligned with that, you need to come to dedicated booth to get a wristband 2 hours before kickoff. You've got to produce your wrist tag to get entry into the game. There'll be no ticket costs, and the usual security protocols will be in place. Go to the AIA Singapore Premier League and Football Association of Singapore social media channels for more information. Obviously tough for the first 2 weeks, but if all goes well, from the 24th, there'll be no pre-requirements for entry. Again, initially though, to a maximum of 250 fans. And wouldn't that be great to think there might actually be, well, a technical sellout, because I'm sure there'll be more than 250 willing to come in and see this great league so far this season. Right, here is the free kick in from Ong Yuen. It's a decent free kick as well, coming in from Kondo. And Stipe Plaza, who does such a good job of coming back. Helps his team clear it. Boris Kapinovic that's doubles Tampanise's lead. That was an important game for them to get back to winning ways as Naikudin takes down the right-hand side across the face! He somehow missed it, Stipe! It was straight at Koga, but it still has to go down as a decent save, Russian right.
Well, that's why he's made as many saves as he has. Albirex giving you an opportunity, giving Lion City Sailors a chance to get themselves back in this game. Wonderful link-up play between Naikudin and Gabriel. He delivers good quality into the box. Unfortunately, just straight down the middle. Needs to be in the corners a little bit more from Stipe Plasivat to really trouble Koga.
Here's to Jelly. Get away. And this is where they can be so dangerous, Albirex. They've got it to Kondo, who's such a danger down this left. They got Kondo down the left, Hashioka down the right. It's a dual threat for them this afternoon as Kondo for once misplaced this pass. It's straight to Diego Lopez, who we haven't seen too much of lately. Stipe Plasivat, Justin Hui, who's been busy down the left. Look at the space, Gabriel Quacks, and if they can switch flanks here. Quacks ghosting into the area, but he didn't ghost in to the edge of the 6-yard box, which is where Justin Hui directed that ball. Half an hour in, and they're still not back on level terms here, Roshan.
It's not a bad idea, you know, Justin Hui with that delivery into the box. Just didn't quite have runners gambling on that. Decent enough delivery. Could have potentially troubled this Albirex defense. But look, it's, again, Lion City Sailors are creating some good opportunities, good openings. It's just unfortunate for them that Koga's in the form that he's been in, and also some of the finishing hasn't quite been on point. But the encouraging thing is that they are getting themselves back into it in terms of that chance creation.
19 saves for the season now for Koga. Haugang United have equalised. With the improved sides of the season, Tanjung United 1, Haugang United 1. Goals in 3 of the 4 SPL games so far tonight. Only one here, and I think Roshan and myself have appointed ourselves as the arbiters to call it an own goal. Officially, it's being given to Taniguchi, as that could well be pinged as a free kick. It is. Referees having a good game. Must also mention it when the referees aren't being spoken about, because it's always a good thing. Ahmed El Kwasa getting the big decisions right so far. Here's Naikudin. Gabriel Quack. Oh, nice play from Gabriel Quack. He's got it to Saifula. Saifula inside. Saifula. Stipe with the hold-up play. Stipe trying to twist and turn to fashion the space for a shot. Doesn't quite work out for him. To Jelly. Back to Hassan Sunny. Well, Hassan Sunny's not really had a save to make, has he? Picked the ball out the back of the net. I'm trying to recall it's Koga that's had to face all the action.
Yep. There was a cross whipped in across the 6-yard box that he had to sort of deal with, palming it away. But aside from that, not really been involved too much.
Diego Lopez in a bit of space. What can he do? He's been a bit understated so far, Diego Lopez, but he's the kind of player that's got the class to explode onto the scene in an instant. Gabriel Quack, this is what he does so well, driving down the right-hand side, but he meets an orange wall on that occasion. And now, at the other end, they've got work to do. To Jelly, up against Taniguchi. Taniguchi cuts inside. He's got an option there as well with plenty of space in front of him. It's Tezuka up from the defensive midfield role. Sprays it to the wide right. Hashioka waits for it. Ball comes in and it's Kondo! Hassan Sunny palms it away. It was a decent enough connection. Either side of Hassan Sunny, he might have been in business.
Yeah, Kondo there again at the back post. You know, it's unmarked. There's a couple of Albirex players in there. Jelly getting caught out. You have a look at the options that they have at that back post. Albirex, Kondo, again, it's straight down the middle. Hassan Sunny, a goalkeeper of his quality, he gets his positioning right. You expect him to deal with it, and he has.
Chiku. Albirex Niigata enjoying a decent spell here. They've scored from a set piece, if you're just joining us, after 16 minutes, what we're calling a Naikudin own goal. Hashioka's got some space now. There are 4 orange shirts in the middle. Can they find one? That was a very, very important touch from Noradin there, because if he hadn't got a foot to that, there were orange shirts behind him waiting to stab it in.
I guess Naikudin will be delighted to hear that officially it's been given to Taniguchi. Although if it is given Taniguchi, there was a miraculous spin off the turf from that header.
Felipe managed to have time to appeal for a free kick, not be given it, and still get his foot to the ball first. Look at the space they've got again though with Chiku. Lion City Sailors dropping a little bit deep here. They're inviting Albirex forward. Ong Yuen, one of 2 Singaporeans as stipulated in the league in the starting 11 for Albirex alongside Faris Hassan. Hashioka, and a good sliding challenge. Sends it out for a throw by Justin Hui, who's been lively up and down the left flank for the Sailors to this point. Tezuka.
Oh, beautifully played once again. I mean, the link up between Diego into Sharan, who plays a nice, clever ball into Justin. Unfortunately, can't quite progress the play from then on. It's given Albirex an opportunity to get themselves back into shape.
It's a great pass from Lopez. He found Naikudin in lots of space. Naikudin approaching the edge of the area. Naikudin, Sharan. Again, it's kind of a no-look pass that I think was asking a little bit too much of Justin Hui on that occasion. They're just lacking it in the final third, aren't they? Some of their build-up play up to the edge of the 6-yard box is really top draw, the Lion City Sailors, but they need to be a bit more clinical when it comes to the final pass or the final effort on goal. Oh, George Felipe called out again, and look at this. Taniguchi, desperately looking for support. Taniguchi hasn't got it at the moment, might not need it. Taniguchi, still Taniguchi. George Felipe traps back well enough to stop Taniguchi from getting a shot in. But again, they can only get it as far as UN before the Japanese concede a free kick. Well, Taniguchi, if he had a bit of support there, the Lion City Sailors could have been in trouble.
And it's credit to Tajeli, who defended that one-on-one situation really well. What he did was he just delayed, you know, we're seeing a replay of that foul, but what he did was, we saw that mistake from George Felipe, we saw Taniguchi looking to try and run at him, but he just gave Taniguchi that little bit of space, he backed off, just delayed the play a little bit more, and gave time for his teammates to get themselves back into a defensive position. They eventually was able to come across and win that free kick. Well defended by Tajeli on that occasion.
Diego Lopez just starting to get more touches now, Lopez, and that's an interesting ball over the top looking for Plazibat, who chests it down beautifully. Stipe going to get the shot away. Stipe just draws it wide. What a ball from Diego Lopez.
Good ball from Diego Lopez. Starting to see him have a bit more of an influence, and we need him to pull these strings for the Lion City Sailors. He's always going to be that kind of player. As I mentioned in our pre-match build-up, good take on the chest by Stipe Plazibat here. Looking for that opening, the opportunity to have a crack at goal.
UN unable to stop that ball from going out of play. We've got a goal at Topayo. Balestier Calcity gaining international by a goal to now. That means there's goals in all 4 of the games being played simultaneously and all live on Singtel StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and OnePlay Sports as well. Balestier Calcity, Tigers leading the Eagles just before half-time. Here, still 9 minutes to go to the break. Still just the 1 goal in this. Can the Sailors get back on level terms before half-time? Gabriel Quack inside to Sharan. Here's Naikudin. Have to go back to Tajeli. One thing Albirex do so well, if you look from our vantage point, they keep their shape brilliantly, don't they, Albirex? They're so well disciplined as a team unit. Stipe, lovely touch, looking for the return from Lopez. Hashioka's there though. This time it's an errant first touch from Albirex that gets it to Sharan. Sharan has a go from range! Straight in the breadbasket of Takahiro Koga. And there's another save to add to his list, Roshan.
Yeah, again, straight down the middle. Decent enough effort from Sharan. But again, just have a look at how that opportunity comes about. It's Lion City Sailors looking for that opening of their own. Good build-up play initially. Stipe Plazibat, who's been very lively off that forward line. But the moment they lost the ball, there was good counter-pressing. A loose pass from Albirex to lose possession. Came into the middle and Sharan thought, why not have a crack at goal? Fortunately for him, it was a nice comfortable save for Koga in the end.
Here's Tajeli. Looking up, sees the run of Plazibat, but that ball's too close to Koga.
I think Vidmar just wanted a simple ball into Nakiudin from Tajeli there, rather than the ambitious cross into Stipe Plazibat. You can see the idea behind it, but just need a little bit more whip on that ball delivered in.
Tezuka, already scored twice this season. Tezuka, he'll be a threat getting forward from that deep lying midfield role. They've found some space for a shot, but it doesn't get past George Felipe. He's tempted to pull the trigger there, Karuba Kondo, and he's not afraid to go for goal, is he? The youngster who Roshan highlighted in the pre-match build-up, getting his chance today, having been a substitute coming on in the second half of the 1-0 win against Galang.
Oh, there he was once again, just in between the lines. He decided to just slow the play down, giving it back into Tezuka, and Albirex can get themselves set up in position here.
It's asking a lot of Takiwa, but he's done well. Takiwa, good vision as well. Get it back to Chiku. Shiku inside to Tezuka. He spotted the run on the right of who else? Hashioka. Takahiro. Tezuka wanted to get it back, and that's crossed in, and Hassan Sunny's done well. Wasn't too far away from causing more trouble at the back.
Needed him to be alert to that situation. He would have had to react very quickly to that, because just as it came across, Jorge Felipe had gone up to try and hit that one away. Misjudging the flight of the ball.
Jelly. Here's Diego Lopez again, starting to have some space to run into now. Diego Lopez. He's been kept quiet for the most part.
Well, touched on in our pre-match show, stopped mid-sentence earlier about Diego Lopez, and he's not a dribbler. From what I know of him from the Portuguese league, he's not a player who gets on the ball and takes players on and carries the ball up the pitch, progresses the ball that way. He's more of a passer, and he's looking for these intricate little passes in behind. He's clever when you give it into him, one-touch pass in behind the opposition defense, but you know, if he doesn't get sort of that space to work with, if he doesn't get runners ahead of him, he can struggle to then have a big impact on the game.
He's more of an orchestra conductor, isn't he? Ball inside the centre circle, pick a pass kind of guy, and he has done it on a couple of occasions. Obviously, came up with a beautiful improvised pass that was kind of a chip pass, wasn't it, that played in Stipe in the win here at the weekend against the Young Lions. Nice play from Ong Yuen. Eventually it gets to Takiwa. Takiwa's got runners ahead of him. Takiwa, oh, falling over there was Taniguchi. Back to Takiwa. Shiku. Hashioka. Kondo. Real live wire Kondo. Out on the right-hand side it comes, cross comes in, and that's a no-nonsense clearance from Tajeli. They are enjoying plenty of success down the left and right, Albirex, aren't they, Roshan? And they're getting those crosses in, and they usually beat the first line of defence. It's putting a lot of pressure on Tajeli and Felipe in those situations.
Try and work it into those spaces out on the flank. We've seen Hashioka already getting involved a lot. Here he is once again. Tezuka sprays that pass out wide. As the space develops, gets Kondo here.
Yeah, Kondo, edge of the 6-yard box. Oh my word! Well, there's some debate over whether the goal they scored, Albirex, was an OG. If that had beaten Hassan Sunny and stayed under the crossbar, that would definitely have been an OG. And Naikudin very nearly an own goal hat-trick. Extraordinary, Roshan.
Well, he gets himself into a good position there, Naikudin, just to deal with that. But his body shape, because he's facing towards his own goal, and he's going at it with his right foot, just gets the connection all wrong here, because he's facing his own goal. Difficult for him to get that one away from the danger area. Fortunately for him, he's got that one on over the bar.
Albrex's second corner. They scored from the first one, so there'll be nervy moments for the Lion City Sailors fans, and they score for the next one as well. And there's no doubt about the goal scorer this time, and they may have inadvertently credited the goal in the 16th minute to Yamashita. They can put that one down in ink. The second goal, Shuya Yamashita with a bullet header, and the Sailors have been undone from a set piece again.
Yeah, you look at the marking once again from the Lion City Sailors. Yamashita on this occasion, goal definitely going to be credited to him. He's just able to rise unmarked, unchallenged. You've got Tajeli there, putting that arm out, but he just loses his man, just loses track of his man, and Jorge Felipe can't deal with it, because you've got the ball delivered right into the head of Yamashita with that forward momentum, powering it past the goalkeeper. These are the kind of situations, if you're Aurelio Vidmar, you're throwing bottles around in the dressing room at half-time, hoping it doesn't hit one of your players on the head, because you would have had this organized, and you need your players to take their responsibility in these set-piece situations. They've been undone for all their good attacking play with the ball. They've been undone by two set-piece situations at corners.
But I've got to ask you this, Roshan. We see in the modern game, opposition teams, they try all kinds of different corner routines. We'll analyse this in greater detail at half-time. Have they been undone, the Lion City Sailors, by what's just a different attacking routine that they've been defending in recent weeks? Because the way they form up at corners, Albirex, is a little bit unique. Is that a question of coaching? Is it a question of the players letting the coach down? Which is it? Felipe loses out to Hashioka, who's into the area. There are 4, he's just waiting, and it should be 3-0. Taniguchi's missed a sitter. This game should be over. The Sailors are falling apart again. I want to ask you about that corner situation.
That should have been it. That should have been 3. I mean, Taniguchi, talk about high quality opportunities. That's a great chance. No defenders right in the middle of goal. Look, Taniguchi should have buried that. Great work again by Hashiruka down the right-hand side. It's falling apart defensively from the Lion City Sailors here.
Well, I've got to ask you, Rosh, and again, there they were given too much space. The two set pieces, again, I know it's an old footballing cliche, ultimately the manager's responsible. They're the highest paid team in the league, spending money for fun. You know, at what point, who do you point the finger at for this?
Well, you look at the marking for the first goal, for example, and there's always going to be analysis, obviously, of your opposition, analysis of what they do at the set pieces, and of course, you know, you're basing it on what they've done in the previous games. As the ball comes out to Gabriel Kwak.
Yeah, we'll see Gabriel Kwak, and he can get that back into it just before half-time. Finds Stipe trying to improvise it to Saifula, nothing doing. Where they're going to have 2 minutes of added time to try and get themselves back into this game. Here's Diego Lopez, who's not really been involved too much here this afternoon. There's lots to analyse here. Luckily, we've got half-time to do it, and Stipe gets them right back in business. 3 goals in the first half, 2 of them in the final 5 minutes of the stanza, as Stipe Plazivat pops up with his 5th of the season to give the Sailors life. Rush out right.
Well, he's been very good for them, Stipe Plazivat, in this opening half, always looking to try and link up the play. Here he is in the box, just buys himself a little bit of time. Good deep cross by Noor Adam, just peels away off to Kiwa once again, who's suffering in the air. Aerially, he's lost out on a couple of situations initially early on the first half to Gabriel Kwak. On that occasion, Stipe Plazivat absolutely punishing this Albirex defense, and it's game back on here with Lion City Sailors. It gives them something to hold on to going into the second half.
There'll be no 4th straight clean sheet for Albirex Niigata, and this really does set the second half up very nicely. Remember, at the moment, this has got the look of the games between the two teams last season. Both times the Lion City Sailors came from behind to draw it back to 2-2 before losing 3-2. Very important they got that goal before half-time, Roshan, isn't it?
Certainly is, but it's Albirex once again just with an opportunity to try and create a little bit more havoc.
Bit of space for Ong Yuen now. They can't get a third just before half-time, can they? We're into the final 60 seconds or so of time to be added on at the end of the first half. And what's been an absorbing contest. Yeah, how important was it getting that goal before half-time? Crucial to their chances.
Again, hugely important. Gives them something to hang on to, something to fight for. Because heads were down, I thought, going into that half-time break. You just looked at Taniguchi with an opportunity to get that third goal, especially with him not taking that chance, and then Lion City Sailors going down on the other end of the pitch and getting themselves a goal back in this game.
I'll tell you something, well, the last thing they wanted to do with the last kick of the half was concede a corner, bearing in mind they've conceded 2 and been punished from both of them. But Diego Lopez sent it behind for a 3rd corner of the game to Albirex. They've scored from their previous 2. And moments after getting back into the game, this would be catastrophic for the Sailors to concede another. Hassan Sunny comes, gets enough on it. He's under a bit of pressure as well, so the keeper did well there. And that header down from Chiku. As it comes to Diego Lopez, out wide to Justin Huiz. There's time for them to create a chance here. No, there's not. Our referee, Mr. Ahmed Al-Quasar, blows for a half-time, and what a absorbing 45 minutes we've witnessed here. Albirex scoring twice from corners. The first, we believe, an own goal from Naikud. In the second, a bullet headed from Yamashita. But immediately after they conceded the second, the Lion City Sailors hit back crucially through Stipe Plazivat, whose 5th of the season, gives the Sailors some hope. They will, though, have to come from behind to win it. Half-time here at Jalan is the Lion City Sailors 1, Albirex Niigata 2. Stay with us. Half-time analysis on the way. Welcome back live to Jana Basar. What a first 45 minutes we've had. It's a game that's lived up to the billing. Crucially, the Lion City Sailors getting back into it just before half-time, but they still trail Roshan Rai by 2-1. But it was absorbing stuff.
It was great stuff, and we talk about expecting goals in this game, and we certainly have gotten that. Lion City Sailors, to their credit, they started off the game really well. Fantastic tempo, Shadan with that deep cross towards the back post. Justin Hui heading it back into a dangerous area, and Saifullah was quick to pounce on that. But Koga has been in good form for Albirex in this game.
And what I love about Koga there, it looks like a straightforward save, but look where he deflects the ball away from the danger area. If he hits it straight in front of him, Stipe Plazivat is there. Another good save. Now this was the opener. We reckon it's a Naikudin own goal. Initially, it was given to Yamashita, then it was given to Taniguchi, but the telltale sign is the way the players go over to congratulate the man that swung the cross in rather than the man that was alleged to have scored it.
Yeah, I mean, it was Taniguchi who gets away from his marker. Just see there, he skips away from Nakiyudin. There's some blocking going on in there, which is brilliant to see. But it's Nakiyudin who loses his marker. Taniguchi is allowed to get his head on that cross, and it ends up in the back of the net.
So that was 1-0 after 17 minutes, but they really should have been level. Stipe Plazivat either side of Koga, and that's 1-1. But yet again, the Japanese makes a strong save.
Again, the encouraging thing from the Lion City Sailors is in attack, in possession, they've put together some really good attacking moves. They've created chances, they've had opportunities. The finishing touches just sort of let them down a little bit.
Now, there was some debate whether Naikudin scored that own goal from the corner. There would have been no debate if this one had got in. Naikudin on the edge of his 6-yard box. I mean, Hassan Sadi, I think, in his defence, would probably have tipped it over if it was going to drop in. But what that did do was concede another corner. Now, remember, they scored from their first corner of the game. This was the second corner of the match they had, and it came just 3 minutes before half-time, and there's no doubt who scored that one.
Yeah, again, you just have a look at the marking there. And Yamashita is actually, initially he was being marked by Tajeli in the box, but he skips away from him, and because he has that momentum with his run, you just have a look there. Tajeli's got his arm on towards the number 4 Yamashita, but he skips away from that challenge and is able to power the header home.
How important might this goal be come full time though? Stipe Plazivat rising highest in between two Albirex defenders, and so important they got on the mark just before the break.
That's a crucial goal for Lion City Sailors because the heads had dropped a little bit. There was a big opportunity for Taniguchi as well to get the third goal for Albirex Niigata. And at that point you thought, this Lion City Sailors side defensively all over the place, 3-0 would have been a game over, dead and buried. But Lion City Sailors with Stipe Plazivat getting themselves that goal back, something to fight for in the second half.
I mean, that gives you an idea of that stat pack, just how even it's been. The possession around about 50-50 as well. 7 shots apiece, crucially. The 3 on target from Albirex Niigata, 2 of them have gone into the back of the net. And I'll tell you something, the Lion City Sailors won't want to be conceding too many corners in the second half. No cards at all. The game's been refereed brilliantly by referee Alcázar, and the players have behaved themselves as well. Now, what about this? It is a goal fest in the AIA Singapore Premier League tonight so far. The Lion City Sailors, of course, we know about. The other games, though, well, Tampines Rovers, you feel, have got the points in the bag already. Boris Kapinovic and Nakagawa amongst the scorers as they win or lead by 3-0. 1-1 between Balestier and Geylang, and Hougang. No, Balestier lead that one. They took the scores off too quickly there. And Tanjung Pagar led early, but Hougang managed to peg them back. So action happening all over. Don't forget, I'm sure you want to stay with us, but every game live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports. Very quickly from those scores from around the other grounds, anything that stands out?
Well, I think Tampines responding well with that 3-0 lead, and those are the results that we're looking ahead to. But this one here is the one that matters.
Okay, we'll be back with the second half. Stay with us.
AIA Vitality. Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality wheel to earn Vitality coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
Welcome back live to Jalur Besar. Let's go through those halftime scores again. I didn't get through them properly just before we went to break there. We know Albirex Niigata leading the status by 2-1. The debate still rages on as to who's been credited with Albirex Niigata's first. The Stags lead the Young Lions by 3-0. Nakamura, Kapinovic and Yasuhiro Napi with another one this season. Tanjung United won, Hougang United won. The Jaguars taking the lead through Nishikawa, Idraki, Adnan equalising for Hougang midway through the first half. And the other game sees Balestier Khalsa leading Galing International by 2-0. Balestier only recently with their first win of the season. Kiki Krajcek and Big Bruno right on half-time has doubled their league, Ensar Bruncevic. So Balestier beating Galang 2-0 at the break. Here, Roshan Ray alongside me. Our eyes firmly focused on Jalur Besar and what should be a cracking second half.
Yeah, it should be a good game of football. I mean, opening 45 was excellent. In tempo and intensity of the game was top-notch. We're going to see a couple of changes coming here as well. I think it's Adam Swandi could be coming on for Lion City Sailors, and I suspect it might be Justin Hui that'll be leaving the side. That
would be the obvious one with that under-23 rule. I can see also, as is the norm, the Albirex Niigata bench making a move as well with Hanada coming on. Hanada was a scorer against the Lion City Sailors last season. All that we need to know now is who's replacing him. I can see you're spot on. You're very good this season with the substitutions, Roshan. Justin Hui will be replaced by Adam Swandi, and that means they've got electric pace down both flanks now. Not that Justin Hui had a bad half. He played very well indeed, and I fear that it will be one of the Singaporeans making way for Hanada. I'm not even going to ask you that one, and indeed it is Fairoz Hassan who makes way for Yasuhiro Hanada. Are you surprised by Fairoz Hassan? Had a quiet enough half,
yeah,
I suppose.
I think it's a justifiable change. I don't think he's really been involved too much. But it's great to see Ong Yuen still, getting more game time. I think he got 60 minutes the last time out against Geylang. He's going to get a little bit more here as well.
It's a compliment to him. He's part of that team unit. He's involved in all their big passing movements as a proper member of the team. He's no sort of player in there just to fulfill an obligation of a Singaporean player requirement. So if you're just joining us, the story of this game so far, 2 goals from corners gave Albirex a 2-0 lead. The one we think's an own goal, but the debate's raging on. The second was most definitely scored by Yamashita, although I'm hearing he's actually been credited with both. If that holds up, he's technically on a hat-trick. We've only had one hat-trick so far this season, of course, Tomoyuki Doi, the player of the month for March, who's not on the score sheet so far today. Lion City Sailors, white shirts, blue shorts. Stipe Plazma about to get the second half underway. Albirex playing left to right in the orange jerseys. We'll keep you up to date with the scores as they go in around the grounds. This match and all the other three being broadcast live on Singtelstar, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and OnePlay Sports as well. Don't forget, fans back into the stadium of the SPL matches from the weekend. There are certain requirements regarding tests and vaccines you have to fulfill up until the 24th, when those provisions will be, we hope, lifted. It's Diego Lopez with an early touch to Gabriel Quack. And you can see Adam Swandy setting up camp down this left-hand side. George Felipe, how important, again, this is a bit of a daft question, but you get the feeling the sailors have to score next year, don't they, really? I mean, they do, don't they? I mean, well, said that,
should I answer that?
Well, no, but I said that, having said that, the way the game's played and the way the sailors play football, I mean, you know, it's an obvious question. They're the kind of team that can score 3 goals in 5 minutes.
I'll tell you what. I laugh at that, but remember that first game that we watched between Tampines and Lion City Sailors, where Lion City, we thought about, Tampines are going to score the next goal. Lion City Sailors went into a 3-1 lead. Tampines managed to claw it back all to 3-all. But yeah, look, what I will say is Plasivat, with the opportunity that he had in that first half to pull that goal back, again, I said it at halftime, it gives them that something to hang on to, that something to fight for. And it will help their confidence in this second half here. The tempo and intensity of the match so far has been excellent. And let's see if they can keep it up and force a few more errors from this Albirex side. Because what we've seen is Lion City Sailors in possession. They have the quality to work the ball progression into dangerous openings and into opportunities that they can perhaps exploit in this one.
Yeah, I think that goal as well, looking back at it at half-time, underrated Stipe Plasivat. His body shape there to manage to deflect the ball with his head goalwards was impressive. Here's Tajeli. Loose pass from Tajeli, played it to the substitute Hanada. And that's a very important recovering tackle from Tajeli to bail himself out of the hole that had been dug over on this far side. Albirex Niigata have circumnavigated 1 minute 45 seconds of this second half without conceding what would be an equaliser. Only another 43 and a bit minutes to go. Good header from Hashioka. Felipe. Sit in the air, then it's going to let this drift out. And he had a little pull out there, Saifullah. But ultimately, he's going to win the free kick. Yamashita's going to be penalised. What do you make of that? And the referee wants a word as well.
Yeah, I think it was just that arm across from Yamashita that Saifullah wasn't too happy with. And that's why he had a little bit of a push. Just have a look at that arm across the face, perhaps. I mean, I don't think there's a free kick there, but okay, the referee decides it's perhaps the arm is too high. He's entitled to give it.
Chardin back to Gabriel Quack. He's been crowded out of it there, Gabriel Quack. Lopez wins it back. It finds its way to George Felipe. Nor Adam. A strong challenge. It's Ong Yuen that picks it up. Bit of work to do here for Konimoto.
Yeah, it was a loose pass there out into Kunimoto. Had quite a lot to deal with. That was a cue for Lion City Sailors to go out and apply that pressure.
It's a scrappy start from both teams, really, through the first 3 minutes after what was a high-quality affair in the opening stanza. Nur Adam. Saifullah. Got Adam Swandy to help him. Adam Swandy. Diego Lopez. Oh, it's come to Saifullah. It was missed out by Hashioka. They want a handball against Yamashita there. Big shout from the players around it. I'll get Roshan Rai's thoughts in a minute as we hopefully get a look at it.
I think he's too close. I think he's too close for the referee to really give a handball there. Yes, it deflects off him and then it hits his hand. I don't think he can give handball for that. There's no way he can give handball for that.
But his hand's not in a natural position. I tell you something, and I'm not a VAR fan. If that goes to VAR, possibly given.
Nah, look, I think it's a natural body movement in that situation, to me, Patrick.
But I know, but when you watch those VAR replays in slow motion, it won't look like it was too close then when the ball, like frame by frame, is heading towards him. Meanwhile, there's a man down. So we get a look at what was just an uncomfortable fall for Yamashita. He's involved again with Saifullah.
Saifullah's done well just to put him under a little bit of pressure. He knows nothing about that. I mean, come on, he's clearing the ball. His arm is up there for balance. It just deflects off and hits his hand.
That's not the ruling, though, is it? If your hand's in an unnatural position, it doesn't matter whether you mean it or not. It's a penalty.
No, if you're too close in that situation, if it deflects off and hits your arm, then it's in the rules.
If that goes to VAR,
it's in the laws of the game, rather.
You've seen them given. You've seen them given on VAR. But I'm not in favour of having VAR in the SPLEU because that's another debate that rages online. Would you, if we had enough resources and manpower to man it, would you like to see VAR in the Singapore Premier League?
I like VAR, but only if we've got enough VAR qualified referees to go and handle it. Because I think if you come into certain situations where you can tell there's been an error, a clear and obvious error, then VAR is excellent for that.
You're the kind of guy that wears pyjamas to bed, Roshan, aren't you? I can just see it with the neatly folded socks.
I actually don't.
We'll leave that one there.
I don't want to go into what I wear to sleep, Patrick, but it's not pyjamas, I tell you that.
5 minutes into the second half. Game, they want handball this time against George Felipe, and they're going to get it. The assistant referee helping this time. And he can't believe it. Assistant referee's called that one. He's saying it's the shoulder.
Well, let me have a closer look at that because, yeah, it's a handball. I mean,
it's fooling no one. You're fooling no one, George.
I had to have a look at the replay because I was too busy talking to you about what I wear to sleep. But yeah, it's a handball by George Felipe. Good spot by the assistant referee there.
In all seriousness, this has actually produced a dangerous set-piece opportunity from a Lions City Sailors perspective to defend against Albirex, who've already made the Sailors look very vulnerable in the air despite the presence of that giant George Felipe. So Hassan Sunny has got his defence to worry about here. How is he going to marshal his wall? Just a two-man blocking wall. Of course, the direct effort is a worry here. And Kondo, I think it's Kondo over the ball, is it? Roshan can hit them. No, it's not. It's Hanada. The substitute Hanada, just obscured from my view up in the stand. When he's going to use that left foot, he could easily take this direct at goal. The wall's interestingly positioned. There's a massive hole in between it for Hanada to try and aim at. Hanada. Well, it was neither a cross or a shot, and I'll give Hassan Sunny the benefit of the doubt. He was just the decoy dive there.
Yeah, I think he's actually decided as he's diving across that it's going to go out, so he's just left it. As Kunimoto is barging into George Felipe there, going down far too easily. He was never going to get a penalty in that situation.
No, Adam. George Felipe. Getting International have got one back. They're the first goal scorers across a busy night of Wednesday night football. Balestier Kausa 2, getting International 1. Noradi would have read the riot act in the dressing rooms at half-time at Topayo, I'm sure. And that's a lovely turn from Saifula. And he looks for Adam Swandy. What a shame the pass didn't match the turn. And more tomfoolery as Hashioka lets it run out for a goal kick. Who are you looking at if it stays like this? Who's the next man going to be called upon from the bench? I suppose Faris Ramli, Song Leong, it's got to be one of those two, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, those are the obvious options in chasing a goal here. Then you're looking at those two to come in and try and shake things up, but it's really well played by Albirex through midfield.
It's 5-on-4 all of a sudden. The orange shirt's flooding forward yet again. Kondo wants it. Looking for the deeper ball. George Felipe's left it, and Noor Adam has only succeeded in giving that to Ong Yuen. Ong Yuen pulls it back. Chika with a delightful cross, and that was an important head up from Tajeli to get the ball away from danger. But again, both these teams capable of breaking and going coast to coast in a matter of seconds. We've seen it from both of them so far today.
We're seeing the tempo and intensity pick up once again from both these sides.
Near side is Hashioka. Hashioka back to Ong Yuen. Continues to fly the flag for Singapore, the sole remaining Singaporean in this 11 on the field now for Albirex Niigata. Here's Konimoto. Oh, that's a lovely touch. Oh, he didn't get it back. He wasn't expecting to get it back, but it still comes to Taniguchi, and now he does get it. Kondo! That's taken a deflection. It'll be a corner.
Important deflection there. Kurawa Kondo, just that space opening up, deciding between Taniguchi and himself who would end up taking that shot. Just thought that it might have broken down a little bit there, but comes out to Kondo. It's a good enough block from Tajeli.
After what we saw in the first half, every time they get a corner, you have to be worried about it if you're a Lions City Sailors fan. Albirex have done their homework when it comes to set pieces. They've managed to score from 2 of the 4 corners, operating at 50% conversion rate from these set pieces, and they've got runners off the ball here, including Hanada.
Well, now they've gone man-to-man once again, but it's Taniguchi. They're just using Yamashita to block himself off from Nakiyudin.
This corner not of the same quality as the previous 4. Stipe Plasma. Now can the Sailors try and break quickly for set piece? That's one of their specialities, but Kunimoto wins it back quite brilliantly. Kondo in their pitching. Oh, that was a sliding challenge. Well, it's definitely a free kick. I thought for a minute it might be more as Chardin hit the deck, but the referee decides a free kick will suffice. No question about that one. Back with the live action. And Noor Adam now down the left-hand side. He's got Gabriel Quack ahead of him. Gabriel Quack trying to turn and thread it through. But Saifullah unable to get there this time. Swandi, Noor Adam. George Felipe. Chardin. Patient build up, but George Felipe has let one of the passes go astray, and that's allowed Hashioka to get his foot over the ball. Tezuka with a nice turn. Ong Yuen played this out of their own half quite brilliantly, Albirex Niigata, and they're aware the race is down the middle again. Hashioka wants to get on the return of this. It's Kondo who spreads a lovely ball to the left-hand side. Why on earth has the referee not played advantage there? He must think it's an injury. And it's also going to be the first yellow card of the game as well, and it goes to Chardin. Well, would you have played advantage there, Roshan?
Yeah, I think I would have. It looked like there was something promising developing down the left-hand side, but the referee's obviously decided to pull it back for a caution to Chardin.
I think the way he fell maybe influenced his call as well. Fell in a bit of a heap. Chardin, first player in the book in a game that's been played with not too many robust challenges for the most part. It's flowed quite nicely, and we haven't had to hear the whistle of Ahmed El Quasser that much, which has improved the standard of the game.
Yeah, he's let the game flow for the most part. Whenever you're not talking about the referee, it's always a good sign. They should never be part of the conversation. It looks like Kondo might not be fit enough to continue here. I've just seen the physio come on and give the bench a signal. May not be fit enough to continue. Let's see how this develops.
Well, that would be a blow because he's been having a good game so far. He's back up to his feet now.
I think it's Fumiya Suzuki that they're looking to perhaps bring on there. Yeah, looking like...
Well, they have different international sign language, Albirex. I was looking at this at the weekend. They don't use the internationally recognised revolving fingers for a substitute. There's a player stripping off down there, but he's now put a bib on that player, Fumiya Suzuki, who played a part at the weekend as well. So maybe he's not, the change isn't going to come immediately. Maybe they give him a minute to run it off, but he doesn't look entirely happy out there, does he, Roshan?
Yeah, I think he just asked for a bit of time to... Initially, what the physio did was signal with crossed forearms to say he wasn't fit enough to continue, but perhaps he just asked for a few minutes to see if he can run it off.
There's Tezuka, I should say, rather. Hashioka. Yamashita. That's errant ball. They did well to keep in, and it's actually worked out rather nicely. Here's Hanada. Hanada, 6-yard box. Tell you what, the Lion City Sailors giving Albirex plenty of space in that penalty area to try and make something happen. Now Chardin just became the first player to go in the book, and he attempted to release them down the right, but Tezuka was alive to the threat.
It was an important interception by Diego Lopez, just on the edge of the box there. Putting in some good defensive work rate in that situation just to help his side out, as Adam looks to take Hashioka on down this left-hand side.
Lovely ball from Swandi. Finds Saifullah. Saifullah with the cross. Too close to Koga, who has not really put a foot wrong. He wasn't to blame for the goal that Stipe Plazovac scored. And no coincidence that he's come into this, I think, already acknowledged as the league's best keeper. 17 saves already this season, 3 clean sheets. No one else in the league's got more than 1 clean sheet so far, no individual keeper, that is. And they'll let that roll out for another corner. I think every time they have a chance of a corner, Albirex Niigata, they fancy their chances very much.
Well, you just look at how that ball's gone from a goalkeeper into a situation where they now got an attacking corner here. Albirex Koga again with his distribution. He's got that about him. Beautiful left foot. Smashes that one further up the field, and immediately you're putting the opposition on the back foot under pressure.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Albirex Niigata shirts in the penalty area. Yamashita, who officially is on a hat-trick, is one of them. Again, second time in this half, the delivery not the best. They haven't cleared it yet, though. And Yamashita for the hat-trick. Well, wide of the post, but he had enough time to pull the trigger.
Yeah, a Not the best of corners that's come in. Again, it's cleared by the first man. Not quite good enough, that clearance. Falls to an Albirex player on the edge of the box. He's can't quite wrap his foot around it, Yamashita, on that occasion, just to guide it back towards goal. Plenty of power behind that strike. But not enough direction.
Quick-fire goals in the game at Jurong East, Tanjung Pagar United 2, Hougang United 2. Cracking game there at Jurong East, another game that's live on Singtel and StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports. Here, there's no second half goals through the first 15 minutes of the second stanza, but the Lion City Sailors are staring down the barrel of another home game where they've not picked up maximum points. They've already drawn here against Tampines, they lost against Hougang. Wins against Tanjung Pagar United and the Young Lions, the current bottom two teams in the division, the only wins they've had this season so far. Hashioka. Oh, lovely work from Hashioka. Wonderful stuff from the skipper of Albirex. He's got Taniguchi in the middle. Hashioka gets it to Taniguchi. On UN wants it. They get it back to Tezuka. Look at Albirex here, swarming forward. Hashioka wants this back on the far post. Oh, that was a very important touch, but it still comes to Hashioka. Hashioka! Just wide. Well, that would have been the goal of the season so far, Roshan Wright.
Wonderful approach play by Albirex. Again, just how they progress the ball up the pitch. Wonderful, intricate passing and movement from them to create that opportunity. Space down the left to whip a ball into the box. It's a challenging enough ball. I mean, they've got bodies in there defensively, Lion City Sailors, nice and deep, but they just can't quite get it clear from the danger zone. Hashioka, fortunately for the Sailors, just drags that shot wide.
Sofula. Diego Lopez. I haven't really mentioned Lopez in this second half, but he's played in Plazibat here. Plazibat to Swandy. Plazibat will go in the middle to try and get on the end of this. Here's Adam Swandy tricking his way past Hashioka. Eventually hits a dead end, so gets it to Diego Lopez. Nur Adam now. Nur Adam, teasing cross, hanging up for Stipe, but it was always going to be difficult to get the power he needed from that range, Roshan.
They're winning lots of headers from crosses coming in, Lion City Sailors. Albirex, I have to say, in terms of dealing with those crosses coming in, been that convincing in the air.
Look at the space they've got through the middle now, and this is the problem. Once the game gets stretched, Albirex are as good as Lion City Sailors at exploiting those spaces. Taniguchi waits for this in the middle. Here's Kondo, who's recovered from that knock. He was going to be substituted 3 minutes ago. Now he's running the job again down the left, and it needed an important touch to Jelly to get that behind, and it'll be another corner, and all of a sudden Albirex are looking the more likely to get the next goal, Roshan.
Again, moving it swiftly forward down that left-hand side. There's Kondo. Look at the space that he has, the time he has to pick a pass out. Again, this time, with all those bodies that they have in the box, able to just snuff out the danger for the moment. Let's hope for a better delivery from Albirex here.
The last two corners have been pretty poor. Some shenanigans in the penalty area that the referee, Ahmed El Kassar, wants to sort out. Once again, the referee's had a good game here. In a game that's been played at a very fast pace, which obviously makes it even harder for the officials. But credit to the players as well. It's been played in good spirits, no messing around and tomfoolery or fakery. Another poor corner, doesn't get past the first man. Do get the impression, though, as you suggested already, Vidmar might have read the riot act to them at half-time about defending corners, as Yamashita's now offside.
As I said, you know, the frustration of conceding those 2 goals from set-piece situations, it's the kind of thing that leaves you tearing your hair out. The flag's gone up here, but I didn't quite see that Yamashita was offside. Seemed to get himself back onside there, but never mind. Play continues. Switching back into that man marking in the second half from those corners, and so far they've been nice and tight on the man. Look, you've got ideas and tactics in terms of how you set up, and then your players have got to carry out their responsibilities in those set-piece situations.
Too much on that from Tijeli as he tried to thread it through to Plazibat. Yeah, I mean, do you try and throw Faris Ramley on here and go 2 up front? I mean, Stipe's looking a little bit isolated in this second half, Roshan.
It's crying out for a bit of a change up front for Lion City Sailors. They just seem to have lost their intensity a little bit in those attacking positions. So Albirex, I think, in general control of this game so far, but look, it can change at any moment.
Here's Saifullah. Is this the moment it could change? Stipe, Diego Lopez, Swandy, Adam Swandy, Shardan, Gabriel Quack, who's playing a more central role in this second half. Lopez, Quack trying to get it back to Lopez, and this is where they could be caught short. There's a huge gap in the middle of the park. Now Albirex Niigata's turn to try and break at pace. Nice layout from Taniguchi, and they win another free kick here. And George Felipe, I think, cleverly picked the ball up to make sure he could run back and get into position.
Right, just Taniguchi, that one was probably a foul as well, and it just goes clattering through the back of Ong Yuen as well. I think realizing that he got himself caught out of position, couldn't afford for Albirex to take advantage of that.
Here's Yamashita, Hashioka. Hashioka continues to be a menace down this right-hand side, and he's away again, and he's onside. Hashioka, can he put it back? Can they get the touch? No! It really should be 3-1 Albirex. More brilliant work from Hashioka, Roshan.
Yeah, great work. Again, he just links up with Chiku on this occasion. Lovely little 1-2 down on this side of the pitch. Leaves two defenders standing for that. We're going to see, I think, a couple of changes coming in as well. Yeah,
the change is about to come. I'm just looking downstairs. Song Oh-young, I think, is one of them. We'll wait for confirmation from our floor manager down there. She'll be already eyeing these changes. Of course, they want to be bringing those men on, only trailing by a goal, not by two. Hashioka, another good spell coming from Albirex. Tezuka. Yamashita, officially, remember, on a hat-trick. Hashioka inside. Look at the space they've now left for Ong Yuen. Ong Yuen, a lovely stuff from the Singaporean. Ong Yuen into the edge of the area. Ong Yuen just couldn't find an orange shirt, but he does well to win the ball in the air, but the header falls to George Felipe.
I like this young man, Ong Yuen.
Certainly having a good game here. Taniguchi, wide of the mark. Yes, he's impressing, isn't he, Roshan?
I remember we had this discussion about the local players in this Albirex side, and I said, you know, if you show you're deserving of more minutes, you'll get it. Well, and that's exactly what Ong Yuen has been doing in his appearances for them. What
do you make of this change that's coming up? Song Oh-young, I'm told, is coming on for Diego Lopez. So the $3 million man is going off, and I continue for Albirex. I mean, it's part of the cause, isn't it? Ong Yuen will be replaced by Suzuki, who looked to be ready to come on for Kondo not so long ago. So what do you make of Lopez being withdrawn, Roshan?
Yeah, he's not been effective in this game, but here he is on the ball.
He lays that one off to Saifula. Saifula into Lopez, but he's about to go off. Could he go off having just equalised the game? Gabriel Quack, who again has been effective in this second half as he was in the first, and they've coughed up possession in a terrible position, and all of a sudden Albirex down the left. What a good covering challenge from Tajedi, at least buys himself some time with his teammates. Kondo picks it up. They're finding so much space now. Albirex, Chiku, Hashioka down the right once more. Hashioka had the time and space to take an extra touch there. But the Lion City Sailors, there are gaps appearing all over the park at the moment. Stipe does well. Adam Swandy through the middle. Diego Lopez is still on here, and he's got Gabriel Quack herring on his right-hand side. And look at Plazibat, unmarked on the near side if Quack can find him. Quack for Plazibat, narrow angle! Into the hands of Koga. Business picking up here, folks. We're going to have a fascinating final 22 and a bit minutes.
A good swift counter-attack by Lion City Sailors, just moving the ball forward very quickly out into Gabriel Quack. It's a nice idea, but I think really that ball into Diego Lopez should have been hit first time instead of looking for Stipe Plazibat. Have a look at that run from Diego Lopez. Just a clever dink into his path, into his movement there, and the Lion City Sailors would perhaps be looking at the second goal.
Here's Yamashita. Hashioka. Hashioka inside, Ong Yuen on the turn. Should have been a free kick there, the Singaporean. And they want to take it quickly, but the referee won't allow them to do it because he wants to see the change affected. Confirmation, that will be Ong Yuen's last contribution. A quick word on his performance, Roshan.
I think he's put in a brilliant performance once again. Really lively down the right-hand side, on the left-hand side in the first half as well. He's been involved in a lot of good movement from Albirex in those positions. 17 years of age, to get about 70 minutes is fantastic experience for him. And again, very clever with how he won that free kick there, drawing the foul from Norada Madula, using his body to win the free kick. Good shift from the young man.
Yeah, Song Oh-young on for Diego Lopez, the other change, which I suppose will surprise some people. It's now 5th game of the season. It's entitled to be acclimatised, and you pay that kind of money. If you're a Lion City Sailors fan, you're really going to be asking why maybe he's not lasted the 90 minutes. really.
I think it's quite right that questions will be asked. You know, there's a lot of expectation on the shoulders when you bring in a player like that.
Look at that touch, Roshan. Unbelievable stuff. They're herring down the left-hand side. Sung Young with an impact already. Stipe Plazivat looking for support. Can he get the shot away? Lovely pass inside. Plazivat. Song goes down. They're screaming for a penalty and they won't get one. It'll have to do with a corner. Roshan, what a passage of play.
Oh, that was close. Again, Song Young already having a fantastic impact. Coming on, have a look at this pass from Stipe Plazivat. This is quality, and he knows exactly what he's doing there. I think he's caught him, you know, with his trailing leg.
This will be the angle that shows it. Stipe Plazivat. Look at the quality.
Brilliant
of that
pass, but have a look at this. Song knows exactly what he's doing. That should be a penalty for me.
Well,
they're unlucky there, Lion City Sailors. He's taken out his standing leg.
Albirex have dodged a bullet right on the water break. Not dodging any bullets tonight are the Young Lions. Tampines Rovers 5, Young Lions 0. As we get another look at that penalty shot, and Roshan's incandescent up here. He thinks a penalty should have been given.
Yeah, it should have been given. Look, it's a brilliant bit of play and brilliant bit of composure by Song in the box, just to cut inside, draw that challenge that comes in. I think there is contact on his standing foot. And listen, ultimately, it doesn't matter what I think, does it? Akash, I was right there. He's the referee.
Yeah, well, I just wonder whether, I don't know, when you look at those and when they're not given, you wonder whether that's something to do with the theatric nature of the dive or what you could have done. I mean, again, it's all about interpretation, isn't it? And the referee's on the spot in a split second. But going back to our VAR debate, is that given if it goes to VAR?
I think so. I think so. I think it's given if you have a look at it. If you come onto the screen on the side and you get to look at the replay of that. I mean, look, there's always going to be this thing about the theatrical nature of players going down, but you can't have it both ways. If players don't go down, they don't get free kicks, even though they've been fouled. Well, so can you really blame players for not for going down when they do take contact?
They've got the consolation of only their second corner of the game here. Remember, Albrex's goals, both of them have come from corners, and then no one really attacking that on this occasion. Oh, am I seeing George Felipe hobbling? Or is it just a little intricate gate? Here's George Felipe. Koga, probably the only man on the pitch that can compete with him height-wise, and he gets there. And look at this from Albirex. He wants to release it quickly. The distance and height he got on that clearance, Koga, was astonishing. And that'll be a free kick to Jelly, fouled in the process by the Albirex man.
He's got a bit of fire in him, doesn't he, Tajeli? Nice to see as well from a central defender taking no nonsense. Had to deal with an incredible drop kick out of goal from Koga, and that did really well under pressure from Suzuki there. Tajeli.
He's got a point to prove, isn't he? He was dropped for the last game. He made that mistake against Hougang, didn't he? That left Hassan Sunny in a bit of bother. Led to one of Hougang's goals, the second of Hougang's 3 scores. So far, no second half goals to add to the 3 we had in the first half. If you're just joining us, what's officially been accredited to Yamashita, but we believe an Ikuda own goal opened the scoring from a corner 16 minutes in. What was it? 6 minutes before the break, they made it 2, with Yamashita this time definitely scoring, and then Stipe just before half-time replying to give the Sailors some hope going into the second stanza. But if anything, you have to say, Roshan, Albirex have looked the more likely in the second half to get the next one.
Yeah, they have. They have. I think for large parts, they've controlled the second half pretty well, because there were a couple of openings that we saw from the Lion City Sailors, and then that penalty shot from Song Woo-Yong. But generally, they've had opportunities, I think the better opportunities in the second half of Albirex.
Here's one for you. I know there's some great statisticians and stats people in the AIA Singapore Premier League front office. Has a goalkeeper ever scored a goal in the SPL?
I'm going to leave that one to the great statisticians you referred to.
Someone will let me know, because Koga, with the distance of his kicks, he could be the first one this season. Meanwhile, Plazivat just taken off his head. Yamashita there defensively this time. The distance that Koga gets in his clearance is absolutely mind-blowing. Over to take this corner is Shardan. The impetus of Song's making a difference at this point, Roshan.
Yeah, it's just injected energy and pace and that willingness to drive forward with the ball, which we didn't see from Diego Lopez.
Shardan whips it in. Koga comes and gets a solid enough punch, and it's going to be Suzuki that gets to it first and belts it away. Up the field is only Tajeli back to pick this up. I think it'll end up going out for a throw, which means Albirex will be able to reset themselves. He's made a habit as well, Keiji Shigetomi. He doesn't always use all 3 substitutes, Roshan. I'm sure in this case, in a tight game, he may well use one late on, even if it's only to wind the clock down or, you know, break up the final minutes a little bit. But it's not something he's always done. You find some coaches use all 3 changes, or in some cases all 5 changes, depending on what the league is, religiously. Others tend to put the faith in the men that are out there.
You can also just leave it for a bit as well. You know, the situation as it is, it's finely poised, finely balanced. You don't want to disrupt things if it's generally going pretty well, and you want to keep that option of having that additional substitute if you need to make it, rather than blowing all your 3 changes. And if somebody picks up an injury, there's a bit of change you want to make, you're sort of hampered by that.
Best spell of the second half in progress for the Lion City Sailors, and Song, who's only been on the pitch for about 5 minutes, has already made a difference. You get the impression there's going to be another chance or 2 in this for the Lion City Sailors. The question will be whether they can finish the chance that's presented to them. Inside, Song Yong stands up well. Eventually, though, outnumbered. Somehow still in possession, Song. And he manages to release Gabriel Quack. Stipe waits in the middle. And then the attempted square ball by Noradam is blocked. It's flipped on to George Felipe. Here's Noradam. Near side is Adam Swandy. Swandy. Pass to Noradam. He's going to need Swandy's help again here. Now Swandy. What's the ball in like? It's too near Koga is what it is. And the Japanese giant gobbles it up.
A bit too predictable there. Just worked its way out into the wider areas, and then the cross comes in. Koga has been excellent for Albirex. It's just claimed everything in the air for them.
Here's Hashioka. Finds a nice pass to Suzuka, but his touch on looking for Taniguchi was a little bit too firm. And again, they'll try and play it short and go coast to coast. To Jelly to George Felipe. Back to Saifullah. The third and final change is on the way from the Sailors, and it will be Faris Ramley to come on to try and get the equaliser. Faris Ramley, who got his first goal since rejoining the Sailors in the 5-0 win at Tanjung Pagar. And I'm being told he'll replace Gabriel Quack. Is that a little bit of a surprise to you? Gabriel Quack, joint top goal scorer, being sacrificed, or is it just a question of someone's got to go and you'd rather stick with Stipe as the big man up front?
Oh, you're definitely sticking with Stipe up front. It is always going to give you an opportunity to get yourselves a goal. And he's been bright for them, I think, in this game, Stipe. You know, the way he's linked up the attack for them. I think he's put in a really good performance. Gabriel coming in, his effectiveness in the second half has just gone away a little bit. Looks to be maybe tiring, but that's another sloppy pass from George Felipe.
Giving up possession far too easily there, and the orange shirts pouring forward once more. It's a little bit behind Tezuka, but he'll still get there, and they're inviting him to shoot, but he doesn't keep the effort down. Stood a mile off him there as the change comes.
I'll tell you what, we sung his praises coming into this game, George Felipe. We picked him out as one to watch, but he's made a couple of loose, sloppy passes in this second half already. You don't expect that from your big foreign centre-back that you've come in to lead your side, to be giving away simple, loose passes like that.
But
made
again,
a couple of mistakes as well in the first half.
Well, you've got to say, even though he wasn't directly responsible, essentially they've conceded 2 goals from set pieces in the air as a team. So if they do go on to lose this game, it's questions to answer. I mean, I know you're not like me, I'm far too emotive, Roshan, but if they were to lose this, at what point do people start asking questions? Well, they might get a chance to equalise now, but Plasibat, having been gifted an opportunity by the first piece of sloppy Albirex defending we've seen tonight, scuffs his shot into the hands of Koga. I'll ask you that now. I mean, there's still a chance they can come back and win this game, but if they lose again here, 5 games played, they'd have lost 2. The money they spent, they already had a year together as a squad under the manager. You know, I know there's a side of football that as a football professional you don't like, the knee-jerk reaction and sacking managers for the sake of it and like ripping up the game plan prematurely. But 5 games in to a 21-game season, at what point, if you're a Lion City Sailors fan, are you concerned now about what you're seeing?
Yeah, and just taken out there. It was nice and patient initially.
Yamashita's been asking for a yellow card the whole game and he'll get one. Sorry, Roshan, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just looking at that patient build-up from the Lion City Sailors, but I think to go back to your point, it's quite right that questions are being asked, that there's pressure being put on. And I mean, pre-match we had Aurelio Vidmar saying that this is a must-win game for them.
Now, sorry to interrupt again. Out of camera shot, the referee has just shown a yellow card to one of the substitutes. Our floor manager downstairs, the wonderful Farah Naya, I'm sure will find out who that is. But one of the Lion City Sailors players was shown a yellow card. One of the substitutes. Apologies, we'll get back to that in a second, Rosh. It's all happening here a little bit.
I think it was. I think it might have been a Curry, if I'm not mistaken. Perhaps being given a caution on the bench for perhaps something he said.
It's given Chardin the opportunity to drift one in. It's a decent delivery as well, and that might have gone behind for a corner. It has. George Felipe not a million miles away from getting on the end of that.
As Tokiwa, it's a good delivery by Shara. Tokiwa's backpedaling and backpedaling. Just tries to get something on that.
Decent delivery. Oh, George Felipe. Saifullah! Blocked by Kurimoto. And they'll let that dribble out for another corner ball. Tanjung United take the lead. They lead Howgang by 3 goals to 2. It was Akari, you were quite right, as Felipe, with his first effort on goal in the game, sent it over the bar.
That's a threat that he brings, George Felipe, in these set-piece situations. You can just see him getting away from Kunimoto on that occasion. There's a lot of ball watching by Albirex there. All watching the cross that comes in, not watching the movement of George Felipe. Just can't quite get up and over the ball to direct it back on target.
Tampines lead Young Lions by 6 goals to 0. Tanjung United lead Howgang by 3 goals to 2. What a famous win that would be for Tanjung United. Just like that inside the final 10 minutes. So you I suppose we've got to be, the way the game was in the first half, you almost got to be surprised we've not seen any goals in this second half. Are we not?
Yeah. You know, I thought we expected I mean, there have been opportunities in this second half, in the second 45 openings. Again, just perhaps some of the finishing just letting these sides down. But Albirex, I think in general, have had pretty good control of this game. Good battling qualities from Plaziba once again there, just holding on to the ball for his side.
Finds Faris Ramley. Faris Ramley charging on, cuts inside, heavy touch, and gets the free kick on the edge of the area. And Albirex are furious, and they might have had a good reason to be. I think Faris Ramley bought that, Roshan.
Very smart play by Faris Ramley. I mean, he just pushes it a little bit too far. He sees the challenge coming in, and it's a shoulder into the face. Happens in front of the referee there. Yamashita can't believe it. But yeah, referee's point of view, he's blocking off his run. Faris is smart enough to go down and win inside his free kick in a good position here. Shalan, with the quality that he has on his right foot in these set-piece situations. It's a good distance as well.
This would be a fine time for Chardin to get his first of the season. It's in a perfect posse for the right footer, and Albirex will be incensed if they concede from this because they think Faris Ramley bought that one. Now Chardin. Koga has been impressive to this point. There's 5-6 men in 2 parts in the Albirex Niigata wall, and Chardin can't find any of them, and he's given the penalty! He's given the penalty for handball. Well, Roshan, the replay will be interesting here. He really hesitated for a split second, Ahmed Al-Quasar, and this will be a controversial call, whichever way it went.
Well, let's have a look at it. Oh,
harsh.
It is. I mean, how are you supposed to jump without the use of your hands in that situation? Are they in an unnatural position? I don't think so. They're right by his side, right by his body. Hits his arm. Enough for the referee to give a penalty there.
Well, the Lion City Sailors have been thrown a lifeline here. Ahmed Al-Quasar's had a good game, but the free kick is debatable, and the penalty decision even more so. Fine margins here in the AIA Singapore Premier League, when Albirex Niigata are about potentially to be pegged back level.
You can just see the discussion going on there between Taniguchi and Chardin. Taniguchi saying that jumping with my arms right beside my body, there's nothing I can do there.
Now, the referee's just explained to Koga he needs to stay on his line. There's an assistant referee to make sure he does so. Plazibat and Koga. Is Plazibat gearing up for his 5th goal of the season to take us to a grandstand final, 5.5 minutes. Great save, Koga! And Stipe Plazibat misses the penalty, and justice may have been done. They've not survived yet though. Faris Ramley, Koga spills it, no free kick, they're playing on here. Song, Koga recovers brilliantly. Plazamak, can he finish it? No, he can't. Swande off the post. An incredible passage of play, but Albirex Niigata survive, and maybe, Roshan, just maybe that was justice served.
What a superb goalkeeper, guys. There's a little bit of nonsense going on between Stipe Plazibat and Yamashita off the ball here, but have a look at Koga. His goalkeeping has been quality, and remember, he was put under pressure after that as well.
Faris Ramley, he's looked a little lively since he's come on. He won the free kick that led to the penalty. Saifullah was waiting for that, didn't get it. And can Albirex break and put the game to bed at the other end? Because Suzuki's away at the races with just Tajeli to beat. And Tajeli does well to hold Suzuki up, but it will be a throw to Albirex. And now the Albirex Niigata bench are fuming over what they see is a string of injustices over the last 2 minutes. Well, we've had some final 10 minutes here, high drama, and it ain't all over yet, folks.
What a finish we're getting here between these two sides.
That's just lofted in. Meanwhile, spare a thought for Tanjung Pagar United. They are a couple of minutes away from their first win since the 23rd of October 2014 at Jurong East. What a performance Koga's put in today, Roshan.
Look, easily, hands down, man of the match for me. I mean, Albirex have him to thank if they come away with the 3 points here. The saves that he's put in, the performance that he's put in this game for them. But still some ways to go. Lion City Sailors looking for their breakthrough.
Saifullah, well dealt with by Hanada. Drifted in, George Felipe's up there! Well, he might has leveled it up with just over 3 minutes to play. Albirex Niigata's hearts are broken, and his first goal in Singapore football has seen George Felipe potentially win his title points.
Well, that's a threat we were talking about. That's much better from George Felipe. Gets up over the defender, Ashioka, powers it down in towards goal. Making that late run into the box as well was George Felipe. And I said, you know, Albirex haven't dealt with crosses into the box well enough. In the air, they've looked vulnerable and punished on that occasion. He's pulled the goal back for the Lion City Sailors.
Oh, that's going to go behind for a corner, is it? Or a free kick to the Sailors? It'll be a free kick to the Sailors. Is there a winner in this game, Roshan?
Oof. Well, it is the Lion City Sailors that's looking the likelier to go on and win it now with that confidence boost.
Well, I tell you something, the second half was a little bit disappointing up until the 80th minute, and boy, oh boy, did business pick up quickly. Oof, George Felipe did really well to anticipate that, but now he's given away a free kick. A little bit clumsy with that challenge this time. I don't think there's any love lost between George Felipe and the Albirex contingent. Oh, heartbreak for Tanjung Pagar. Hougang United have got it back to 3-3. Tampines have put 7 past the Young Lions. What a dramatic night in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Goals flying in everywhere. Here, question's going to be answered soon as to how much time Ahmed El Kasso will add on. Remember, twice last season these two teams played. Twice Albirex led. Twice they were pegged back to 2-2. And twice they got the winner in 3-2 victory. Sanada, they won't be getting the 3-2 win with balls in like that. Bit of a waste, Roshan.
Yeah, a bit of a waste for Albirex. Just go sailing wide. Some of the set pieces in this second half, the delivery hasn't been quite up to mark. Well, saw some good quality in the first half from them.
I said, Roshan, that it's not something he does all the time, but he's going to be making all 3 changes today because Takahashi is going to come on for Kondo. Meanwhile, they'll pick this up with Saifullah. Faris Ramley. Get the space through the middle for Shardan, who can hit them. Space not there for him now, though. Adam Swande out wide. Stipe in the middle. Song in the middle. Faris Ramley in the middle. Back to Shardan. Into the final minute of the 90 we go. Chested down. And Albirex managed to bring it away, and that'll be a yellow card for Saifullah. And referee doing a good job of getting in between the two of them there, because Taniguchi, I think, was in the mood to react. Saifullah in the book.
The tackle is as cynical as they come. I mean, he knew he lost possession of the ball. There's a chance for Albirex to go on the counter-attack. It's a deserved yellow card. It's
just to correct myself, I think there's a goal that's been disallowed. Tanjung Pagar United 3, Hougang United 2. So the dream's still alive for Tanjung Pagar's first win since 2014. 3 minutes of time to be added on. To be fair, I'll enjoy another 13 minutes of this. It's pulsating. Heads are up. It's beaten. Albirex Niigata. In a long, long time. Unbeaten. Albirex against Lion City Sailors in their last 9 games. It looked like that run's about to stretch to 10. I mean, if you had to pick one, assuming it's going to finish 2-2, Roshan, who would you rather, who would you be more confident in being title winners on what you've seen tonight?
It's a tough one. I mean, we're going to see some surprise results with Tanjung Pagar leading Hougang. Look, it's a long, long season, long way to go. Still plenty of twists and turns to come. Not ready to call the league yet. I think I'm quite right in doing that. Still far too early here. The performances have been excellent.
Well, you're going to be with me all season, mate. And don't forget, it's 5 games. It's only a 21-game season, so you haven't got that much longer to decide. I should be putting a gun to your head around when we get to double digits in games played. But I will give you the benefit of the next 5 games. That's only fair. What about Tampines Rovers sticking 7 past the Young Lions as well? So much to talk about and react to. Don't forget to catch Farah Naya and her SPL show, which will wrap up all the action and all the goals. Is there another goal in this one? Remember, 3-2 twice last season. Albirex Niigata, though, unable to get an attack going that time. There's been a hat-trick for Boris Kapinovic in that win for Tampines Rovers as Faris Ramley comes up here. He looks like he's in the mood to groove. Faris Ramley, Saifullah gets, very nearly they managed to thread it through to Faris Ramley, nearly not quite. And Albirex now all of a sudden the team seemingly hanging on for the point, Roshan.
There they are as the Lion City Sailors. They're looking for their winner and it's looking really good for them. Some quick, intricate passing in behind at Albirex midfield. Just have a look at Song's positioning here. Saifullah as well, Stipe. Very quick to move the ball along forward very quickly here.
Oh, look over that from Stipe. Lovely work and over the bar from Saifullah. What a spectacular way to win it that would have been.
Well, he's backed himself to score the winner there. Saifullah Song's a little bit frustrated that he didn't get the pass into him. But this is that, again, lovely touch from Stipe, just in that situation to release the ball into Saifullah. And he's hit it underneath. The ball, you want to be hitting over that, just to keep it underneath the crossbar.
Well, we're into the final seconds here on a dramatic night in the AIA Singapore Premier League, and it looks like it's going to be on as even. And of course, worth remembering that the team that started the night second look like they're going to be losing as well. So it's not a disaster for Albirex this, but it's starting to get congested at the top of the table as referee Ahmed El Krasar blows for full time. Roshan Rai, 2-2, a fair result?
Yeah, I think so in the end. I think with the chances that Lion City Sailors have created here, the draw is a deserved result. They could have eventually gone on to win it. It's a good game of football that we've had, played at a really good intensity and a nice tempo. A couple of interesting decisions and talking points to discuss here with this one, but yeah, fair result in the end. 2-2 keeps things interesting at the top of the table.
Well, ultimately, Albirex Niigata has thrown away a 2-0 lead. You could say what we thought was an own goal that's officially accredited to Yamashita gave them the lead from a corner after 17 minutes. 3 minutes before half-time, Yamashita in a goal that was definitely his with a powerful header made it 2-0. Just before the break, Plazabak got one back to make the second half interesting, and after missing a debatable penalty in Plazabak's effort, was saved brilliantly by Koga. George Felipe, the giant Brazilian, up from the back, headed home powerfully. The keeper, no chance to give the Lion City Sailors a point. It's finished here. The Lion City Sailors 2, Albirex Niigata 2. Well, we'll be able to give you some match analysis in just a couple of moments' time, run you through the highlights of what we've just witnessed. A fantastic game it was as well. I mean, breathless stuff. I thought for a minute the second half was going to be a little bit of an anticlimax after the quality of the first, but that final 10 minutes, I think, made up for it, the preceding 35.
Yeah, I thought generally in the second half, Albirex had pretty good control of the game, defending high up, trying to limit Lion City Sailors in terms of their chance creation. Faris comes on, Song comes on, and suddenly the game changes, the intensity gets increased. But early on here, Patrick, Taniguchi with that header, and I still think it should be given as an own goal. I think it comes off Nakiuddin, but officially, apparently, it's been given to the number 4 Yamashita in that situation. But undone by 2 set-piece situations, the Lion City Sailors here. You just see Taniguchi moving away from his marker there. And again here, it's Yamashita who powers that header into the back of the net, but he gets away from his marker, Tajeli, once more.
They've literally been beaten in the air at exactly the same point of the field twice in a half, and it gave them a mountain to climb. And at that point, they arguably, before conceding the first goal, had the better of it. So you could say they were valued for getting a goal back before half-time. I think that goal's underrated from Plazibat. Yep. He's back to goal to direct that header like that's first class. It's
an excellent header from Plazibat. I think he's looked really lively for Lion City Sailors. He's had a really good game. Missed penalty aside, I thought he was fantastic for them, and that gave them a bit of hope going into the second half. Something to hold on to, because again, as I said, it looks like heads had dropped. Albirex again with Taniguchi could have made it 3-0 just before that. That goal from Stipe Plazibat.
This is Hashioka's chance now. Hashioka had been lively the whole game, and it opened up for him here. Just pulled it wide. I think Hassan Sunny, if he'd have snuck it inside the post, Hassan Sunny wasn't getting that.
Some really good opportunities and openings in this game. Again, it was Albirex on this occasion. The way that, they sort of moved the ball very quickly forward down that left-hand side on this occasion, able to create an opportunity at the end.
Now, this was the penalty decision, and the original free kick that led to the penalty was debatable. And Roshan, I think we're both in agreement here. Not easy for the referee, but it's a harsh one, isn't it, against the player?
It is. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he can do with his arms there, right by his side, but credit to Koga. I mean, this is a fantastic save. And again, with penalties, there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can say, oh, it was a good height, poor penalty, but I give all the credit to Koga in that situation. And look how quickly he reacts to that as well, just to come across. He's put under a little bit of pressure, gets up on his feet very quickly, comes across. Eventually, he's helped out by his defense, but he has been, Koga, outstanding for Albirex in goal.
And when you see goalkeepers going through those routines they do in training, that's exactly why they do it, for the kind of goalkeeping you saw from Koga there, but there was nothing he could do there. Felipe rising highest, as he's going to do so many times this season, and directed the header well. Look at him arriving with a lovely time run, gets over on top of Hashioka. No suggestion of a foul there, is there?
No, I don't think so. It's just a lovely late run from Georges Philippe. And, when I look at Albirex and I think about how they were, I touched on it, I said they would look vulnerable from the crosses that have come in. In the air, they haven't looked very strong at all. It's only through Koga's quality that they've been able to, I think, limit to the Lion City Sailors to just a couple of goals. But Georges Philippe is always a threat in those set-piece situations. Once again, coming up big for them in open play this time, but with a late run into the box and a powerful header into the back of the net.
Let's check out the stats for tonight's action if we can. I'm certain there are going to be plenty of shots in amongst there. Look at that, 31 shots combined between the two teams. The Lion City Sailors, ironically, the more prolific, but of course, that may well give you the answer as to who the man of the match was, because Koga's got to be right up there, hasn't he?
As I said, it could have been a lot more for the Lion City Sailors if not for Koga. Yes, Albirex had a couple of good openings as well, opportunities as well, but Lion City Sailors, I think the frustrating thing for them from the first 45 was the chances that they created were good chances, were high quality chances. They couldn't put them away, and then they were punished by 2 sloppy situations at set pieces.
Very quickly, we can go down. I want to ask you about Diego Lopez, but I'll give you some time to think of your answer, because Farah Naya is downstairs with Keiji Shigitomo.
Pretty late on, it's 2-2 in the end, a point for you, but are you disappointed with that result?
Of course, I'm not satisfied with the result. We couldn't get the 3 points. But we have to change our minds and prepare for the next match.
KG, thank you so much. Good luck the next time out.
Thank you.
Yeah, understandably a bit disappointed, the manager of Albirex Niigata. A team so disciplined as they are, when they're 2-0 up, 99 times out of 100, they're going to come away with all 3 points. But not a disaster. They come away to one of the hardest places that they're going to visit this season and take a point back to Jurong East.
No, not a complete disaster, but you're right to point out that he'll be absolutely disappointed with the way they let the lead slip in this game. Again, I think what they did was they conceded lots of opportunities, lots of good opportunities to the Lion City Sailors, and that's something that he's got to work on. Because Koga's not going to be there all the time to sort of bail them out of trouble. I mean, as incredible a goalkeeper as he is, the fact that he's coming into this game, top of the league in terms of saves made, says that Albirex will give you opportunities, will give you chances to get goals, and that's something he's got to work on. But the fighting spirit was really good from his side generally, overall. And yeah, the fact that they had that 2-goal lead, they let it slip, allowed Lion City Sailors back into the game is something for him to be well disappointed about.
A quick word on Diego Lopez. Your thoughts on him not lasting the 90 minutes?
I think I already mentioned it in commentary. I think it's quite right that questions are being asked about a player who's come in for 3 million Singapore dollars, and the fact that he didn't have an impact on the game. Never mind that it didn't last 90 minutes. He didn't have an impact on the game, and in a game where you're up against title challengers.
Okay, well, let's hear from his manager now, because Farah's managed to grab hold of Aurelio Vidmar.
1, 2. I have Aurelio Vidmar with me now. Aurelio, you had to come back from 2 goals down, but are you disappointed or pleased with that result in the end?
Oh, well, firstly, I don't know what it is with Albirex, but we're always coming back from a 2-goal deficit. So it doesn't make a game easier when it's like that, but we conceded 2 set-piece goals, which is very unusual for us. And I have to give full credit to our players. I thought, even though we were 2-0 down, we had a very, very good first half, and I think even a better second half. And we showed a lot of character tonight in terms of continually playing our style of game and causing some issues for them in the defensive third. Unfortunately, we probably had quite a few chances to finish off the game, but it's not meant to be tonight. But I think both teams will probably be satisfied with a 2-2 draw.
Like you said, you conceded 2 set pieces. You were undone by 2 set pieces. But how important was that goal you pulled back right before the half? Because it seemed like you came out there in the second half looking a completely different side.
Oh, well, look, I think we created 2 or 3 good chances in the first half, and we couldn't finalise. And I thought some of our football that we played in the first half was very, very good. And yeah, it was unfortunate we went 2 goals behind, but Stippy pulled one back with a nice header just before half-time, and we definitely deserved that because we were very good for at least a goal. And we had to fight extra hard and keep our discipline, and showed a lot of character, as I said, in that second half.
Aurelio, thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
I was working our magic with Aurelio, because he's told us more in the pre and post match, I think, in this game than he has in all the other games put together. But let me just tell you, the next 2 games, the Lion City Sailors, they're at Geylang at the weekend, then at home against Balestier. They're becoming must-win games for them now, aren't they?
They are.
They're 4th after that result.
I mean, even coming into this one against this Albirex side, and Vidmar was saying that this is a must-win game for them for their title hopes. In the end, they got a point, which I think is a decent result. At least you're keeping pace with some of the other sides, and with Tampines winning their game, sure, but Hougang dropping points as well. It keeps things very nice and interesting, nice and tight at the top. Still a long, long way to go.
Okay, let's wrap up what was a quadruple header Wednesday in the AIA Singapore Premier League for you, and goals galore wherever you look. Heartbreak for Tanjong Pagar United. They looked for so long that they were going to win their first game in 2,358 games, but they were pegged back to 3-3. Tampines Rovers, 7-star performance, beat the Young Lions 7-0. Boris Kapinovic with a hat-trick, and Balestier Khalsa a 2-0 lead at half-time. It was enough to see them through after Kiki Krajcek and Bruncevic had given them a 2-goal lead. 1 goal back from Chris Van Heusen wasn't enough, and in Geylang suffer back-to-back defeats, which is a big worry, I'm sure, for Noor Ali. The action moves on thick and fast. Don't forget this weekend, 2 games on Saturday. Balestier Khalsa, Hougang, Young Lions and Tanjong Pagar United are the Saturday matches. Rochelle and myself will be at Jurong East for Albirex Niigata and Tampines Rovers, and that is now an absolutely mouth-watering prospect, because that game, like tonight's one, Albi, 1st versus 3rd, and Geylang International against the Lion City Sailors. Those 2 games on Sundays really stand out.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that Albirex Tampines game that we're going to have covered. I mean, this one was excellent. I just can't wait for the one on Sunday.
Can Tampines beat Albirex Niigata?
Yeah, sure, why not? They've got the quality to put 7 goals past the Young Lions here.
Yeah, join Roshan and myself. Find out with us at the weekend as we go to match day 6 in the AIA Singapore Premier League. If you join us late, don't forget the big breaking news today. Great work from the FAS, the Singapore Premier League and the government from this coming Saturday. Limited number of fans allowed in. Lots of provisos and requirements to meet if you want to come in for the next 2 weeks. But then after the 24th, the hope is there'll be no prerequisite for your attendance. So go to all the social media media channels and find out information. From Roshan, myself, stay safe, stay well. We'll see you Saturday for more AIA SPL action and what has been a Goal Fest Wednesday here. Good night.